Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another OSR Tabletop live stream with myself, Richard DM Bloodworth. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my previous week now of work, and unfortunately, working 12 hours a day, including my commute for Monday through Thursday. There were just not enough hours in the day. Plus, I'm always exhausted after a 2-hour plus drive from Manhattan to my home. Traffic, 2 hours in traffic is feels more like 6. But there were several things, especially Kickstarters, that I wanted to talk about over the last week or so. And like I said, unfortunately, work kind of called me in and asked me to to pull those extra hours, which I'm certainly appreciative of, money wise, but it will help fund some of my purchases that I'm going to be talking about tonight. But I wanted to really just come out, and I thought the best way to cover these Kickstarters that I have varying levels of interest in, and I'll certainly touch upon those as well. But this is something that I wanted to talk about, and this is the best way for me to do it, fastest way for me to do it. So this might not be a long stream, probably be fairly short as I go through them. But if you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to put in there, I'm certainly welcome to. And then I'll open up the floor. I'll have an open floor for any other OSR news of the week that you might want to talk about as well. So without further ado, let me just pop up the first one. And this one I really thought was going to go live today, and yet it hasn't yet. So that's something that is a little bit interesting to me, because I really was under the impression it was going to be live today. And that is Mythic Days, the Clyde Caldwell edition. I had the creators, all 4 of them, on my channel last week, and had a really great chat. That was the most recent live stream on my channel, so you can definitely go and check that out. I actually recommend that you do, because we talked a lot about the game and a lot about the interaction that they had with Clyde Caldwell, and really did. I think they did a great job of really selling the game. It is one of the few games that I'm going to be talking about that is really a different system than some of the others. So it is not a D&D clone in any way. It's a totally different system, and that has a great deal of appeal for me as well. So Mythic Days Clyde Caldwell edition Kickstarter is going to begin sometime soon. At least that's what it's saying, sometime soon. All right, we already have some comments in here. Hey Ducato, how's it going? Good to have you in here. I'm going to be talking a little bit about some Kickstarters that are coming out, and I know at least one should spark your interest, and I do have a release date for that one. So I was just talking about Mythic Days. I thought it was going to go live today, and I would have really pushed that out there. But once it does go live, I will do a whole video talking about just Mythic Days, the Clyde Caldwell edition, and actually going through the rule system so that you can see how it's not your typical OSR. It's actually more of an independent game, because it's not a direct derivative of Dungeons and Dragons. Hey Al, how's it going? I am so mad that the French from last night. So bring me some laughs. All right. Dolman Hood. I'm going to actually mention that, and so that will be something that I'm going to talk about. And whether you agree with me or not, that's to be seen. But yes, Dolmenwood, I just threw on my watch list and see how it's going, and I'll go through each of them anyway. Let's see, and I bet Dragon Slayer made them delay possibly. So I don't know. Dragon Slayer is another one that I'm looking at very strongly, and we'll see. Again, some interest in it, but I have questions. So let's go to my banners here. So Mystic Days I already brought up, so that was the first one. Like I said, I thought it was going to launch today. The next one that was on my radar already before any of these and before my backing of them was Castles and Crusades, the Codex Infernum and the Codex Exaltum. So this is basically the Hell and Heaven source books for Castles and Crusades. This I thought was going to begin today, and then I noticed, so I really need to change this. This is officially beginning on the 6th. So September 6th, this is going to go live. Now, I really want to get my hands on this because it is something that I really want to see how Castles and Crusades handles this topic, because one of my favorite Dragon magazines was actually was all the articles on the Hells back in the on the 9 Hells articles back in the 80s, and I absolutely loved them. And I know that Troll Lord Games, Stephen and Davis are going to handle this in a very lore based and almost like a historical kind of view that they do with these with these things. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they handle the topic and how they both gamify it and yet still have that real historians kind of approach to it as well. So really excited about that. That is not today. It was another one I thought was going to launch today, but it is actually listed for September 6th. So yeah, I apologize for that correction here on this. And let's see, we have another comment. So will need a hell book. Will Castle Zajig Yggdrasil, I guess that's how you say that word. That's a tough word for me to say. Need a hell book? I'm not sure. I back that as well. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. And they what Troll Lord Games said was that the response to Castle Zajic being being released has been so overwhelmingly positive. Oh, excuse me. So overwhelmingly positive that it guarantees additional works to be released. So that's really cool too. I can't spell news. Yeah, I know it's a tough one to spell, and it's it's most likely somebody's name just all scribbled up and everything. So, but yeah, that's another one. That wasn't a Kickstarter. That was that you could still get right there on Troll Lord Games website, and I'll be sure to link that as well. Actually, while I'm chatting with you. And I will bring that up so I can share this. And let's see what we have here. So let me get the thing. I think that's a featured item. So let's see. Here it is. All right. I'll be able to share that as well once I get to it. So I'll tack that on. So thanks for bringing it up, El, because I wasn't thinking, of that. Certainly something else I backed during this time. Next up, So Dolmenwood RPG has 7 days left in their Kickstarter. It has already exceeded 1.2 million. 1.2 million, and I will actually share screen on this so you can see, and I'll start sharing screen and going through the next couple of things here. Stream bookcase. Nope, that's not it. My Chrome tag. Oh, there it is. Okay. So here we go. So these are the Kickstarters that I'm talking about, and I'm just going to double check to make sure that you are looking at the same thing. I hate this about sharing the screen. So here's Dolmenwood, as I mentioned, and I'll click on this really fast. So this is being put out by Exalted Funeral. 9,100, almost 9,200 backers, 1.2 million already collected, pretty much shattering its goal by 6 times. So doing very, very well. Now I'm looking at this thing, and I've kind of learned that if you're going to back something and they have all this kind of stuff, going on with it, to backing low and then expanding later on. I just go for what I can do in the moment and kind of leave it at that. I would never back any of these things for just the, certainly not for the dollar amount. That's silly. And I'm not going to just do it for digital. So I was looking at, the standard, and that's $95. Then I looked at the limited with the slipcase and everything. It's a little bit fancier for an extra $30. I'm like, all right, you know what? If I were going to do this, an extra $30, I'm looking at the, at the slipcase here and going with the limited. Then I look at here, and this is, an extra $45 above that. No, I'm sorry. It's an extra $35 above it. And you can see how my mind kind of works. I start pushing forward and being like, all right, this is going to start escalating. And, now I'm at $160, $160 investment. And then, I start looking at, I was like, oh, but for basically $30 more, then I get the limited slipcase, which I really liked and everything. And now I'm looking at $190. Now, going back to what I was saying, so now I'm starting to look at $190. And my next calculus in that is that am I actually going to play it? Am I actually going to run it? And at nearly $200, it'll be over $200 once I have it shipped and everything. And I'm going to wait God knows how long for the fulfillment on it and everything. And it's just not in the cards. If I see a year or more from now, the fact that it is selling, and I mean, not that it's selling, if it's being run at conventions, then I might think about it. But if it's not, and there's very little activity actually running the game, I'm not into it. Not at a $200 price point. So that's the one thing about this game that I was like, you know what, I'm not exactly there. Now let me go to the next. The next up is I'm sorry about that that sound. Let me hang that up. CVS calling in about a prescription. So so let me go to the next one. So the next one, Fire and Ice Miniatures board game. So and it's not just a board game, it is also an RPG. So I actually backed this one now. All right. So I am going to bring this up. So this has 11 days left. It's made 91,000 on a 50,000 goal. 958 backers. This looks really cool, and I just watched this movie again, so it was like the timing of it was so perfect, and just looking at it, I really like the style of it. I love the miniatures of it. I mean, these miniatures are absolutely phenomenal, and even though it's a board game, and I generally don't play board games, I'll figure out a way to do a solo play with this to show you how the game actually works once I get it. But literally just phenomenal. You know, and a reasonable price for it as well. I will do a you know, some coverage of the actual role playing portion of this. Because there are role-playing rules that come with this, and it's about a 65, I think, a 65-page rule book that comes along with it. I mean, the figures are incredible. I mean, just absolutely love what these figures look like. For that alone, I was backing this, but you know, but the fact that it has, you know, just such awesome imagery. And there are, like, I just love the placemats. All right, and then you put your cards and your character on each of these when you're playing it. They have a nice section on the history, and then so here are all of the figures so far that have been unlocked, and so they have all of the major ones. I mean, look at the detail of this; it's crazy. I even like the color of the dice. You know, the dice are very, you know, you got your Fire and Ice theme going. There's the rule book. And just so you can see, I backed it here at $75. I got the early bird, 75, everything included at 75 bucks. So you really can't go wrong. I will probably add I will add a couple of stretch goals or add-ons to it. Like, I will almost definitely add in the add-ons. Let's see. I'm a sucker for t-shirts, although 38 is a little expensive on a t-shirt. But it is officially licensed. But I might go with it. And I really like, I'll probably get the trading card set of 9 as well for an extra 25 bucks. So I'll probably go with that as well. So let me caught up on comments here. Let's see. Oh, Ducato, you backed Dolmenwood? I'm looking at it. I just can't, you know, it's going to cost me 200 bucks before all is said and done. And I want to see if people are actually playing it. You know, and if you were running it and, you know, I was going to be in on your game, I'd get at least the, you know, the PDF so I could follow along. You know, I just don't see, like, if it turns out to be some, like, a really big thing, and I start seeing it being run at a lot of conventions, like the next convention I'm going to, I'm seeing Shadow Dark is being run. So if I start to see any of these Kickstarters being run, then I will go back and I'll actually pick it up. But for now, I'm going to hold off. It is 100K behind Shadow Dark, but 4,000K backers less. Well, because it's more expensive. You So it's probably it'll probably surpass Shadow Dark, because like I said, its value is at the 160 point, unless you kind of like lose your marbles like I might and end up pushing it closer to the 200 level. Yeah, she got booty. Yes. Yeah, that mini is like ridiculous. Look out for nude minis. Yes, the minis in Fire and Ice are absolutely crazy. I mean, I will bring it back up here again. I wish I could zoom in on this and just make it bigger, but I mean, these I'm waiting for these to come out too. I don't know if that stretch goal has been met. Probably has. 100,000 stretch goal. All right, so probably not then. Yeah, I mean, look at that mini. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oop. So let me go to the next Kickstarter, and let me put up the banner there. So that's one I've already backed. So that's a done deal. Let me bring up. We'll start talking about Dragon Slayer RPG, which has 28 days left. So I will go back, and Dragon Slayer, I am right now. I'm just following it. So it's already beat its pledge goal. Let me make sure I am showing. Yes. So it's already beat its pledge goal. So this is going to come out. Was funded within 24 hours. It still has 28 days to go. So it's got a long way to go. And I have not yet backed this. So I'm looking at it, right? And I've watched some of his interview, some of Greg Gillespie's interview on it, and it's being described as D&D 0.75. All right, it falls between Moldvay and AD&D First Edition, and my question was during the stream that he was on. And my question came after the beginning, so I didn't. It was on. He was being interviewed on Diversity and Dragons, and so I put in my question kind of late into the stream, and basically I was asking, and maybe this is a little cynical. And I don't mean it to sound that way, but I said if I already have Moldvay box set, and I have AD&D First Edition, why do I need to purchase this? All right, because everything that is described, that he's taking basically it's like the sensibilities of Moldvay and the polish of, and he means rules polish, by the way, the rules polish of AD&D, and kind of bringing them together. And I didn't quite get that answer, of if I already have both, why do I need this? And it becomes that question that many of us that follow the OSR, we're OSR enthusiasts, or we're independent game publisher enthusiasts and everything, and it's the age-old question: how many retro clones do I really need? And so that is, that's the question for me, is like when I'm looking at it, I'm wondering, why do I actually need this? All right. So let me see if anyone chimes in with let's see. Have I looked at I haven't looked at this yet. I mean, I backed this, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen as well once I get to it. But yes, I have backed this, and I will talk about that. I am a very devoted purchaser of Troll Lord games, S Panther. So now I use my military discount, that they give to all military veterans and everything. So I get a lot of their stuff at 50% off because that is the discount that they give, which is just absolutely phenomenal. Um, but I also like to support them in their Kickstarters as well, which you're not getting that discount. But I do, my first several hardcovers from them, I paid full price for. And then later on, when I started seeing these other things that I wanted to fill in place of it, I was like, well, you know what, I'm not, I'm not wealthy by any means, and so I was like, nah, I'm going to have to use some of my veterans discount. But I certainly back this one here. And as a matter of fact, I did use my military discount for the Castle's Agig. But I'm not using it obviously for the Kickstarter. So here we go. I did Your Reasoning is Sound, and I struggle with that as well. Yeah, it's like, how much do I, on both cases, right? Dolmenwood, I struggle, like, how often is this actually going to be played? I want to see that and see that it has a track record of actually being run and played at conventions before I make that dive. And I can always make that dive later on, and I can piecemeal and get it together, and get all those things. Maybe it'll cost me more than $200 in the long run. And that might be worth it, or in the long run, if I see that it's being run quite a bit. Now, on the other hand, if you're talking about my reasoning with the OSR, and just how many retro clones do you actually need? That's something that I think a lot of us are kind of asking. So I like to see a lot more innovation included in something before I'm going to buy my fifth variant of D&D BX. Why did these cool Kickstarters have to drop all at once? Yes, I know that's another thing as well. They do kind of flood. I guess it's, just prior to the holiday shopping season. And so and usually the summertime launches a lot of these. But yeah, the timing of it is also a struggle, because when so many do come out at the same time, uh, if you're like me, you end up like not even realizing it before you've already dropped like $500. And so that's another reason why I'm kind of holding off on some of these things. Viral Maze doesn't need its own system. Yeah, and I know some people I like I said, I listened to some of his interview and everything, and it's he and I'd love to talk to him. All right, and it wouldn't even have to be on the channel or whatever. I would just love to talk to him and really get to the point of saying, how does Dragon Slayer um really make a difference between um not just combining up Moldvay with AD&D first edition, but what does it do differently? How does it move it forward? So that's what I'm, interested in hearing. I haven't been sold on it yet. You can't merge Moldvay and 1E. Well, of course you can. You can merge anything. What I think he means is that there's like spell slots, and that's what he was talking about. Was like spells are done the Moldvay way, but you have all the races and classes of AD&D First Edition. I mean, basically, what he's doing is he's homebrewing Moldvay and adding some components of AD&D First Edition. He's discarding some of the bad parts of AD&D First Edition, such as weapon speed modifiers and those kinds of things. I think you also mentioned in the magic system, he passes up on the segments for spell casting, and doing that. So and relies more on the Moldvay system of Magic. Um, but you can do that on your own. Um, you can do that on your own if you have both. That's why it hasn't sold me on it yet. Is that fact? So yeah, races are classes. Moldvay isn't zero edition. No, it's D&D BX. So whether you want to call it, it's not OD&D. It's someplace in between. So and assigning those numbers on it in the sequence, whether it's 0.75, that's just like a way of trying to make it understandable for somebody that's really looking at it and saying, well, how does this the fall within the chronology of D&D? And to call it 0.75 because so many people are used to hearing the addition number, that it kind of puts it in that place, just like Pathfinder is D&D 3.75. No one at Paizo ever calls it that, I guarantee you. They want to try to say that, no, this is a totally different game system, and it's not 3.75. I guarantee you no one at Paizo calls their first edition as 3.75. Dragon Slayer, I had no interest in it until I saw the art. Yeah, I know, easily covers sucked you in, and I get it too. Again, I get to the point where I still have a question of whether or not I need it. Are we going to see Dragon Slayer running at conventions? I don't know. It's possible, I guess. It looks too small, to be honest with you. Now, will it hit 1,000 backers? I hope it does. I really do wish him luck in running it and everything. I hope that it has, I hope that it has as many backers as it can possibly have. It's only 3 days in, so it's great that it was funded within 24 hours. So I wish him luck. I would just like to hear some more about the system, and how it is different than just homebrewing Moldvay, which was my first system that I bought, right? So I love Moldvay and AD&D First Edition, which I absolutely love as well. And how the marriage of it is different when it comes to what's innovative about it. That's what I want to know. What is innovative about it? Personally, I don't know if I need the system, but one of the tiers is 2 of his mega dungeons, which would be another way to support it. Yeah, and again, if you're looking to get the 2 mega dungeons for the thing, let me see what that's going to come in at. So if you want copies of both mega dungeons, I mean, it's not tremendously expensive. It's only $63 US. $85 Canadian. If you want the Dragon Slayer print book and PDF, once you add the select any 2 of the following 5 OSR hardcover Mega Dungeon books, including the PDF, so Barrow Maze Complete, 10th Anniversary Edition. So you're going to choose 2 of these, and that's at $112. All right, to get in at that. If you want Dragon Slayer and the Mega Dungeons, pledge includes Dragon Slayer TM Rulebook in print and PDF, as well as the OSR Mega Dungeons of your choice in print and PDF. And that is at $115. Then we have More is More at $123, $165 Canadian. Pledge for 2 copies. Well, you wouldn't need 2 copies of it. And Beacons are lit. The pledge is six of them now. So that's more like a store, front looking to buy them. So anyway, um, so that's Dragon Slayer. Like I said, I'm glad there's 28 days to go. I can still keep on looking at it and trying to learn more about it. And I'll make that decision between now and 28, the 29th day from now. I wanted to buy Darrow Deep for a while. Yeah, you could just go and do that as well. So I have Highfell and Barrel Maze, need Acacia and Barrow Deep to complete the set. Yeah, so you can choose those other two from that one selection if you needed to. Dragon Slayer is redundant. It exists, so Greg has his own system. People need adventures like Barrel Maze, not more systems. Unless he can, he can sell it off as the maze written to his system works better. And that's fine then. If he says his mega dungeon should have been geared towards that, then hey, all the power to him. I hope, like I said, I hope it sells like hotcakes. And he has a very, very successful game system under his belt. And I hear a lot about his mega dungeons and how great they are, and I'm sure that they are. Mega dungeons is not really my thing, but I hope he does well. And I may, in fact, back it at some point, but I just want to see more or hear more about it. Electro Lords purchased quite a few books. Postage to Australia is killer, but worth it. Yeah. Postage anywhere outside of the United States is pretty atrocious. It is the season. I think it's every summertime. Summertime is just a big Kickstarter time. I don't know the graphics, the actual data on that point, but it's just there. Hey, GM Johnny, how's it going? Yeah, some of you, I haven't been shouting out your names here. So welcome if you're here for the first time, and also welcome if I haven't shouted out your name yet. I recently opened a large tote and I have a full Dungeons & Dragons magazine. With all of those, really don't need to buy anything else as the resource material. Oh yeah, there's tons of resources from the magazines themselves. Yeah, you don't need to run anything other than Castles and Crusades, and that's great too. Hey Ajax, how's it going? Looks like a bit more interesting than Labyrinth Lord 2nd edition, but I concur. When does it become too much? Yeah, I mean it's that's why I look for how is this thing unique and why do I need it? Yes, he's a great guy. I have been like Facebook friends with Greg Gillespie for a long time, and I've never had, any, interaction with him that would either be negative or to be honest with you, really significant either. But no, he seems to be a great guy, and I really do hope that he is very, very successful with it. I just need the elevator pitch. How is this new and improved, and how much am I going to get out of this? So that's what I'm looking at. Let's see what the next one up is. I think I've gone through all the banners. No, not yet. Dragon Slayer. I think I showed the Castles and Crusades up already. Oh, so Castle Zajic. So that's the next one I wanted to show up. So let me go here. And I think I have to change this one. So I'm going to just make a quick, so I stopped the screen share. Let's present this here. There we go. So here is Castle Zajic, Yigsburg campaign setting, $65. It is still in stock here at trollord.com. And this is everything that you get with it. You get, this is the pre-order, comes with the book and both maps, as well as the PDF and digital PDFs for both maps. I will be going over this. Like I said, this past week, I've been really busy with work. I already have the PDF. I'm going to start going through this. And I believe I already got a notification that my order has been logged in, and it should be. I'm not sure when it's going to ship. It should be soon. So full color, fold out, 24 by 30 inch map. One full color fold out, 24 by 30 inch map of the town. 9 interior maps, 600 plus non-player characters, 30 plus random encounters and events tables, 50 random encounters, offering hundreds of adventure venues. So kind of like plot hooks or, those kind of thing. Order of battle from everything from goblins to knights. Orders of battle, I'm sorry. New monsters, magic items, spells for Castles and Crusades, role-playing game, crime and punishment for Yigsburg. Over 1,000 adventures and adventure ideas. For $65, that is probably the deal of the day. All right. That is what I'm going to say, is that by far is just crammed with so much material. And if you really like Gary Gygax's world building, that's the book to get. All right. And if you're really looking to if you're really looking to look at the Gary Gygax's legacy in gaming, Castles and Crusades is the place to go to. I mean, that is the true standard bearer of Gary Gygax's legacy. And like I said, his some of his rules writing, admittedly is kind of wonky in some places, but his world building is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, so that's the I think that's the true strength of Gary Gygax's writing. Has always been his his world building and just the from Greyhawk to other other kind of settings that he's done in some of the other game systems that he's tried to launch on his own after TSR games. That was always again his strength. If you read his novels and everything, it's not so much the characters and the stories that he creates, but it's just the world, the depth of the world. So the Greyhawk novels, Adventures in Greyhawk, they're awesome novels, and that's the real guts of those books, is that the world building that he has in there. So let's see. I got processing email from, so I got the same thing. So I got the processing email. That's what I meant to say. So so I suspect that they should be coming out fairly. It's not something that they have to send to print. You know what I'm saying? I think it was already there, and they were just putting them out there, but more is to come. And I know I read their email about that, based on the response, more is to come. What system is Castle Zajic made for? Castles and Crusades. So that is going to be Castles and Crusades, although it's very easy to convert to anything, but it is based on Castles and Crusades. And you can get the Player's Handbook in PDF from Troll Lord Games for free. So, and that's all you really need to play. The Monster Manual helps as well, but as they said that there's quite a bit in this book here as far as new monsters and such like that. So you can probably apologize for the garage sound. Okay. Sorry about it. I'm just above my garage. So that garage door, I don't know how much it actually comes in through you. Yes, it is made for Castles and Crusades. Yes, they've already announced that there are some additional supplements that are coming out, and you are going to ultimately get all of the castle. I know they announced it in an email, and I would bring up the email and go over it. Would be awesome. Yes, it would be awesome for the full castle to come out, and I believe it is. Surprised that Gary's ex-wife is allowing this to happen. All right. I have a feeling, Ajax, that these are the things that are owned by the estate. And so this is coming out of the estate, and these are the things, I mean, these are the things that I believe are what is the these are the things that I think are what the court has already said, that they're not exclusively owned by the widowed wife, Gail Gygax. So that's why I think they're coming out. And the thing is that the stuff is just languishing in there. And so the way Luke stated it, the Gygax estate is pissed with Gail sitting on everything Gary did and willing to release everything if they need or want arises. Yeah. So I have a feeling that they're, she's not going to get the huge windfall that sitting on it for, probably a decade and a half now, probably about 15 years, been sitting on it. I don't know exactly when Gygax magazine was brought to a close and all of that. So, but it might even be going longer than 15 years since that was closed down. I'm sure somebody will jump in the comment and say when that happened. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to gain value over time. It's really not. And to have it sitting there and languishing, 2008. Thank you, El. So yeah, we're 10. Yeah, we're almost about 15 years. I was pretty much right off the top of my head, and I was like, yeah, it's roughly 15 years or so. So yeah, it's not doing anything. It's she's not making money from it if it's just sitting there. That is when Troll Lord Games said Zajic was last available. Yes, and so it's great that it's coming out now. In in all of its glory, because it's essentially the same as it was back then. Got another sneeze coming up. Let's see. I think I got through all of my banners. Yeah. So just to recap, Mystic Days, Clyde Caldwell. Not sure when this is going to actually go live, but looks really cool. Certainly going to back it as soon as it goes live. And I am probably going to back this at the $95 level, which is the soft cover, the 4 booklet soft cover at $95. So it's pretty cool, pretty cool price for 4 books. So that's not bad at all. Then second one up, Castles and Crusades, Codex and Infernum, and Codex Exaltum Kickstarter. It does not begin today. I don't know if I can change that. Let's see if I can change that. Oh, yes, I can. This is going to be September 6th. Let me save that. So that is September 6th. Dolmenwood RPG has 7 days left. So definitely check that out. Fire and Ice Miniatures board game Kickstarter. I have backed this. 12 days left on that. Dragon Slayer RPG Kickstarter has 28 days left. It's already, all of these have met their benchmark except for the 2 that haven't launched yet. And I'm almost certain that they will. So you can be sure that all of these will eventually be available, and they're going to meet their Kickstarter goals. And you'll have them in your hands if that's what you're looking for. I'll check the comment that's in here. I would sue Gail for tortious interference because CNC could have been bigger against 4E D&D. Yeah, that came after though. Yeah, so Gary passed in 2008, and then the Castles and Crusades was already out from 04 to 08, at that point there. So already 4 years it had been out. And yeah, it might have been better competition for 4E than Pathfinder was. Actually, it would have probably been better competition against Pathfinder if it wasn't being held up the way that it was. So it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it's depending on the states and state laws for that kind of a thing. When you have a widow and there's an estate, it's very, very difficult to separate a widow from the holdings of her his or her significant other. So I can close all those out. Sorry about that. So last thing I was going to chat about. So those are all of the Kickstarters that I'm kind of looking at right now. If there's any others that you think I should take a look at, feel free to just throw those in the chat after this live stream gets put onto onto YouTube and Twitter and such. If you're not following me on Twitter, Twitter is a new handle on Twitter. So make sure you look for Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review on Twitter, and there it's tied directly to my channel instead of my name, and so it's there. But let's see what else. So the last banner I was going to put up was the Open Floor OSR News of the Week. So if you've been following my channel and everything, you've probably seen that I have not really dug into any of the hoopla that has been going on, within the OSR and on Twitter and amongst many of the other channels that I do follow, and the whole Ginny D thing, and I mean, with what the hell is his name? Can't think of his name right now. Indestructible Boy, and Diversity and Dragons, their channel there, and I think some others have actually gotten into it. Uh, Legion of Myth. All right, Max had gotten involved with it as well, and all of that kind of nonsense. Going back and forth amongst them. I mean, I don't see. I don't see. First of all, Jenny D has me blocked on Twitter, so you can kind of see there, and that's guilt by association kind of thing. So it's not like I've ever had any real contact with her or she with I that she would block me. So that kind of tells you a lot there. I know um, she's a big proponent of safety tools, and I think the first time that I got, or when I was initially blocked by her, all I had said was that I really don't find that much of a reason to use those tools at my table. That's literally all that I had said. If that was the cause of getting blocked, that tells you a lot about her. If it was she just did a blockchain, that also tells you a lot about her as well. Yes, I have a feeling she does block anyone that doesn't agree with her. And hey, you know what? That's fine. I don't think that very many of my subscribers really follow her, and probably vice versa. So, I don't need any clout off of her to build my channel. I know there's some others out there that'll be like, oh, you're just clout chasing, to attach to Ginny D, and that's why I didn't even bother getting involved with it. But I know it's been revolving around several channels that I do follow, and a lot of people that I have, a good deal of contact with in this space. So I just wanted to mention it, that it is something that I know has been going on, and I'm not going to spend any additional time on it than I have just now. So that's pretty much it. And so it's kind of a nothing going forward. That it's fine. That has no impact on my gaming table one bit. I mean, and that's the bottom line that I think a lot of us need to keep on remembering. How is this going to impact my table? That's the only thing I care about. And I disagree with the other people. Oh, you need to care about the hobby and the legacy of the hobby and the health of the hobby. Bottom line is that I think virtually all of us, we're concerned primarily with what's going on at our own tables. That to me is the only hobby that I'm concerned about. And another RPG may not ever be released again. You can see behind me, I have enough behind me to run any genre, any game system I want for the rest of my life. All right. And that's the bottom line for me. So I'm not going to get all jumping into all of that, nonsense anymore. X removing block. People will need to X card on X card users. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to do the remove the block and grandfather clause that in. I mean, that'll be hilarious. I'd love to see that they've, just like they started unbanning people that they banned. If they remove those blocks and everything, probably those individuals would probably lose their minds, because now they'll be like, oh, I know on my previous account, I was like blocked by like 600 users. And I was like, I've never had contact with 600 people on Twitter before. So it was just amazing to me when I figured out how to use that particular link to see how many people actually have you blocked. So it was hilarious. It was a lot of, pretty funny to see it. So yeah, I mean, it is funny that they're going to go if they do take away the block, people are going to lose their minds. Basically, I was set out to make OSR angry in a recent video for other drama. I don't really like. I don't have any. I'm not on bad terms with Basic Expert at all. I actually was following him for some time, but then I stopped because I noticed that he doesn't follow my channel. He doesn't, he wasn't following me on Twitter anyway. So I practice reciprocity, and I kind of expect that in return. So, I will eventually move away from anyone who obviously is not following my channel and is not, is not reciprocating, whether it be on X, Twitter, or on Facebook or whatever. It's just you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing, and I'm not going to give anybody, I'm not going to put any extra wind in anyone else's sails if they're not doing the same thing in return. So, like I said, I've never had anything negative to say with him. I just know that he doesn't follow my channel, so I don't bother really looking at his. Yeah, I have character sheets older. Yeah, I have dice that are older than than most of those people too. So it's just it's just a funny thing. It's a waste of time. Again, your table. Let's share stories about what's going on at our tables. That's something I've been trying to do on my channel and encouraging other people to do as well. I know Decado is putting out some great content showing off his, unbelievable, his miniatures and his set pieces and everything like that. Just crazy. I would actually have to invade him with my gray army. All right, especially from my monolith Conan and my monolith Solomon Kane box sets of just massive gray army to take on his legions of extremely well painted figures. The original dice broke down and lost a long time ago. Yeah, I have the crayon from, because I bought a Moldvay box set, speaking of Moldvay, and it had the crayon and it had, I believe, like the package for the dice was opened, so I'm kind of wondering. I think I'm a little bit suspect on the dice themselves. I know some of them are original, but others I'm not too sure on. But the crayon is definitely the crayon. And that I can tell because it's just nice to have it there. But anyway, so have you talked to Shadow and Sun about mini streams? Yes. Both Decado and DM James does all of his miniatures and stuff, and Shadow and Sun, he does a lot of painting of his miniatures as well. So yeah, all of those things. I am just nowhere near that talented, and I kind of fall off. I was during the summer, like early part of the summertime, I was really keeping up on the painting and everything, and now I've kind of slacked off from it. I have to get back to doing that. I need to set aside a day when I'm just going to paint, and just spend a day on painting, and then showing off those things as like little shorts or whatever, so you can see what I'm doing and hopefully give me some tips on how to how to do better. No, I have not yet. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know if you follow DM James, but DM James does a lot of painting as well, so you might want to check out his channel for that as well. So Let's see, other drama. I know, yeah, there's been a slew of videos now about, oh, no one wants drama in the hobby, and so now they're being accused of clout chasing drama. And it's like, by saying that you don't want any drama is clout chasing to create drama. Again, just what does that have to do with what you're doing at your table? Um, you know, I had a great Tuesday night game at my table. Um, One of our player characters for the first time had been killed. Three others nearly killed, and fortunately for him, they remembered that like 21 or more weeks prior to, the cleric had a raised dead scroll, which they managed to use successfully and brought him back. And it was an absolute, couldn't have thought of a better way to top off the 100th session of our AD&D campaign. And, really did convince me, because I know when they were talking about it, and, I just got so nostalgic of the campaign that I decided, because I was going to make a clean break and move over to new characters and a new system using Castles and Crusades, but still set in Greyhawk. And I was like, that will be my second. I know one of my players just put in Discord that he was like, oh, so does that mean, because I got my schedule for work now, does that mean that Friday nights is going to be open for Castles and Crusades? And I'm certainly open to that. So I'll keep on going with my AD&D campaign, and if they want to continue that, and then run a different night and just run exclusively Castles and Crusades on that other night. So that's a possibility. Now that I know I have my Fridays kind of open, which I didn't have this previous year. People just like to complain to complain. Well, James is usually painting. He just doesn't bring up his. Well, no, he does. He brings up his. He'll show you what he's painting at the time and everything. But yeah, he's not like Bruce, where Bruce is actually all you see is his hands painting while he's doing his streams. So it's just slightly different. People just like to complain, yes, and they get clicks for complaining too. Bo, Shadow, and Frotz show what they are painting. I don't know who Frotz is. All right, so throw a link in there, El. I'll take a look at it. Like I said, I know Bo. I follow Bo's channel, so I don't know who Frotz is. Oh, Fritz. All right, still don't know who. Like, that's not ringing a bell. No spoilers. I have seen the one he came. I have seen. I haven't. I guess you haven't seen it yet. No, that's in there. So that was my. I have a video, so that's on a stream. It's a video. I'm a white belt YouTuber. You're a scrub YouTuber. Trying to figure out the best way the channel to grow some. That's the thing. When we're talking about, growing the channel. I know, like I follow Shauner's channel, and he was like, I wish I could go back to having just 500 subs, and it gets back to the quantity over over quality, and he's somebody that wants to move backwards, and just have fewer subs but more quality subs. And I'm kind of like in the same boat. Like, what I like for my channel to hit 3,000, absolutely, but I don't anticipate it ever getting beyond that. And the only reason why 3,000 seems like it's a possibility is because I'm less than 200 away from that mark. But when it gets there, don't I don't ever anticipate it getting to 5,000. I mean, if you asked me a couple of years ago, did I anticipate it getting to 1,000 or 2,000 or even 3,000? I would have said, "Oh, there's no chance in hell of doing that because I'm focusing almost solely on OSR, almost solely on just gameplay, and and then some independent games in between. I literally don't touch 5e for in my 950 videos. If I've done anything on 5e, less than 10 videos in that time, it's probably about as accurate as I can be. So I prefer comments over subscribers, and I prefer comments over even views or thumbs up or anything like that. I mean, they're all great to have, but I value comments much, much more than anything else, because your comments then actually makes me look at other directions or think about things in a different way, or think about a way to present what I'm talking about a little bit clearer and such. So, I really do appreciate comments, even comments that are saying, "Hey, you got this wrong. Great, correct me." I know someone just corrected me the other day and saying that massive damage was, I wasn't calling it that. Massive damage was actually 2e and not 1e as I thought from my 100th session video. And it's just because it was in my 1E group that we talked about it. And no, I don't go through the DMG and pick through every single page before I started this campaign. And this campaign's been going on for over 2 years. I rarely pick up the Dungeon Master's Guide while I'm running a campaign. It's just not that often that I do that. And I've picked up the player's handbook or the monster manual 10 times more often than I did the DMG. So it's, other than doing treasure tables and that kind of thing, I don't bother. It's just whatever kind of rolls off of my memory, and that's how we run it, and whatever. So, am I bringing other things in? Yeah, I've always called it, like maybe 90% is, AD&D, and the other 10% is just stuff that I've picked up along the way. So yeah, so I wouldn't really fit into that raw, and I don't really fit into the, this is unrecognizable from AD&D First Edition either. It's somewhere in between. Let's see. Let's see what we have here. Dagano, join streams and cam voice if you can, and grows the channel. Yeah, yeah, um going on to people's streams and everything, and anyone's welcome to jump in on my streams if you want to. As a matter of fact, I didn't even think of doing that. If anyone wants to jump in, and you've come into my streams before, Takato. But yeah, if anyone wants to jump in and talk about our topics, you're certainly welcome to do so. Like my stream, I always put out the link, for anyone to jump in. I could fit up to 10 people on this thing, and anyone's welcome to come in and chat a bit, talk about what's important to them, what they're doing, and such. So I prefer comments and have been getting a decent amount considering the size of my channel. Yeah, comments are useful. I mean, bottom line, comments are very, very useful. I woke up the other morning to Troll Lord sharing one of my videos on Twitter. Wow. All right, that's cool. That's definitely cool. I saw a comment up here where someone was saying, should I Yeah, Bruce, all you see is his thumbs. Yeah. Um, yeah, I saw someone's comment up here and I wasn't sure. I missed it now. I lost it in the talk. There he is. How's it going, Takano?
Oh, there we go.
There you go. How's it going?
Good, good. Just polished
Yeah,
off my white belt and ready to roll.
that is an insane mind flare behind you, or Cthulhu,
Yeah,
whatever. It is.
no,
It's
it's yeah. So that was my Christmas gift for
yeah.
last year. My son he knew I wanted it because I've
Hmm.
talked to him before, like, oh, I really want that, but they're not cheap. So so he went to his mom and said, hey, let's get this. Can you help me pay for this? So they split it. And my wife was super mad because it's from WizKids. It's one of their wall
Yeah.
mounts.
Hmm.
But when they ship it, what it is printed on the box.
Yeah.
So I had no idea, and I was home alone, and
Hmm.
I see my mail lady like struggling with this monstrous package. I'm like, what the heck? So I run out to help her, and then I look and I see the image of it, and I bring it in and I take a picture of it and I send it to my wife, and I'm like, care to explain? And she like lost it because it was supposed to be a surprise, so she was really mad.
Yeah,
It was
it's
super cool.
but it is super cool. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, so it's what was I saying? So yeah, I mean just going on other people's streams and everything like that, having people go on your stream, you'll see that it will pick up because people like to, like to come in and see how, different people interact with one another, because it
right.
really does change, if it's always me or always one other person or whatever, it kind of gets, I don't want to say stale, but it doesn't have the same change in dynamics that you have when you
Right.
see new people going on to different streams and such. And I know like when I'm watching like Shauner will be like he'll look at other people's streams or whatever, and what drives him nuts is when someone doesn't have their, you can't see them, you'll see just the image or
Yeah.
whatever. And and I kind of get that because
Yeah, I do
that's,
too.
yeah, I kind of get that because if you're looking to draw viewers to what you're talking about, I don't mean just viewers for the point of looking at your show, but I mean viewers to be thinking about and looking at what you're talking about, you know, um, and to just have, the avatars up there doesn't have the same impact. I think it doesn't have the
No,
same draw,
I don't.
you
I don't
know.
think so.
So so anyway, so it's nice to have you on. And
Yeah, man. Thank you.
so I know you were saying that so I know we're both Castles and Crusades fans, we're both Troll Lord Games
Oh yeah,
fans, and
yeah.
so virtually
Big time.
anything that they're putting out, I'm going to be a total sucker to get. I have been prodding them over the last couple of weeks or whatever, or months. I keep on sending them things like, when are you going to come out with the Codex Hyborian Age? It's
Yeah.
all public domain. It's
Oh
all
yeah, that's
public
true.
domain, so they could absolutely do it, especially if it's just a source book and a setting book and that kind of thing. They
Right.
can absolutely do it. And I mean, Stephen would actually hit that so well because him being a historian,
Yeah.
um, you know, by education, he would just knock that out of the park.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I would love to. I mean, imagine Castles and Crusades set in the Hyborian Age. I mean, that would be just phenomenal. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
My
I
group really likes
we
this.
could probably do it ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because you're really just taking a setting and a theme and applying it to it. But it's just so much more convenient if someone else
Yep.
is producing them. I mean, I could pull the map
Yeah. I've
from
had that talk
any
like
of that
with
stuff.
other folks about different, different ones, like, or
Yeah.
I remember you and I had talked about like Skyrim and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And, one of my players is a huge, like, he's a Skyrim guru. Anytime I'm
Yeah.
playing that game and stuck, I just like, hey, where's this at? And he could tell me. And he wanted to do something like that, and I was like, dude, but with 5e, and I'm like, man, you'd have to change a lot of stuff to make. And he's,
Yeah.
well, I'm like, I just do not do that heavy lifting, because my thought was, I wish Modifius would just come out with a Skyrim role playing game, and if we wanted to do that, we could play some sessions of that. And he's like, well, I think we could do it in 5e, and I'm like, no, because you got to
Yeah.
change a lot of things to make it. It's like
Yeah.
taking Lord of the Rings and making it. Now it's been done, like they do have a 5e
Yeah.
version of it, and I have the entire run of the Crucible 7 stuff,
Right.
and they did a good job with it. Like, it doesn't look like 5e D&D. It in the core rules it kind of does, but I mean, they did a really good job. But
Yeah.
I just, if it's not completely horrible, I would rather, like, if there's a system for something or somebody else is going to write the book, hey,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You
like
know,
I would,
I think a lot of people that say, hey, we could just do this, like convert this or write this, they've never really done that. So
yeah.
it's like, you know, all my games are based out of my own homebrew setting. So it's like, you don't understand the amount of heavy lifting that can go into that,
Yeah.
to do it well, to do a good job. But, if you care about, the game you put on and present and stuff, like,
Mm.
there's a lot of work involved, like, can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unofficial Elder Scrolls. Yeah. Elder Scrolls. I can't believe it's not a tabletop
Yeah.
RPG by now.
This is one of the most underutilized IPs ever. Like,
Well, Modifius has already put out um a skirmish game for
yeah,
Elder
I
Scrolls.
have
They
some
put
of the
out,
miniatures.
they've already put out Fallout. Again,
Yep,
another,
I have some of those miniatures too.
both an RPG and a skirmish game as well. So they already have that contact. Why they're not putting out
I don't
an
know.
Elder Scrolls tabletop RPG? And I think
Yeah.
they would actually put it. They would hit it out of the ballpark.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that it would
Yeah.
match very, very well with the 2D20 system if they were going to do that. Go along that lines, or do a class. Well, they don't really have Skyrim is not really classless, but you could pick up other skills and everything along the way. It kind of has like a basic build that you would go with, but
Right.
but then the rest of it is skill based or whatever.
Yeah, I think they do a
That
good
would
job with
work
it.
out really
Great job.
well. But anyway, why not play with Willow with Shadowrun?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Right.
sometimes L is like, you don't know if he's bullshit, or like trolling it
It's fine.
or serious. Yeah. But UEST RPG. All right, that's, I guess, what it's called. But it's 5e. It's 5e compatible or made for 5e, so I won't touch it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that pretty much kills it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Won't bother with it. So
Some of
anyhow.
my so we had a thing at my gym the other day, and I was talking, and there's several guys there, people there that game. So I got talking to one of them, and he's like, hey, we should do a thing for the guys here. We should play a game. And I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea. So it kind of got pushed in my direction to run. And we have a bar in a city not far from us. It's
Mm,
relatively new, but it's geared towards gaming. I've never been in
right.
yet, but they have places to run games and all
Hmm.
that stuff. So we kind of want to do it there because one of the guys is friends with the owner. So I'm like, that's fine. And but I told him, I said, yeah, I'm not going to run, because they all play 5e, and I'm like, I'm not running that. Like,
Yeah.
I'll show you what I run, and if you
Hmm.
guys want to try that for a session, we can. But I don't want to run 5e. I
Yeah.
probably, the only time I'm going to probably run it is if my local game store asks me to help, because we do these big campaigns there and stuff. And the enjoyment I get from that isn't running 5e. It's working with the other DMs there. So,
Hmm.
like, we have these meetings where we just sit there and hash out what we're gonna. And it's like being in a writer's room, and that's a lot of fun. And then and then getting to play with like new people. Like I had a bunch of new people in the last one that I helped run through, and but we're also talking about doing some other stuff too, like more exclusive stuff.
Mm.
The owner of that store's been in business for 24 years, so it's,
Wow,
got some leg.
that's good.
And he does a lot of trade shows, and he was at one recently, and shops bigger than him were talking about like how they run like premium events, and so we've
Hmm.
been kind of kicking that around, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's
But
more like battle card premium, right? Like
yeah, well,
Magic the
this would
Gathering,
be no.
Lord of the
Well,
Rings.
what we were thinking is like role playing games,
Oh,
and we didn't
really?
get specific. Yeah, and it would be like say 8 sessions, but it's like exclusive. Like you sign up, it's 8 sessions. You fill out a questionnaire, and like on what kind of game you're looking for. Like, do you like puzzles? Which God, I hope not, because I hate those. Um, like combat or role play or whatever, and just so we can get a feel, and then it'd be like a full immersive thing, like with like if they're into it, that's what they're looking for, like tables like I build out, and with miniatures, but with sound, and there'd be a lot of like extras made for it. There'd be a fee
Mhm.
for it, but really the fee goes back towards providing the experience for them. I mean, this is like if the length of my arm is how close we are to getting this ready, we're like at my fingertips, So it's like,
Yeah.
who knows? It was just something we were kicking around. He approached me about, and then so I was kind of interested in, just because it seemed like a interesting challenge, and could be fun. So I don't know what'll happen, but that's it. Like here at home, like Christ, the odds of me ever running 5e again are slim to none. I take that back. I'll probably run one more session because I have a campaign that I need to complete, and we didn't
Yeah.
get to do it before my son left for school. But once that's
Mhm.
done, yeah,
Yeah,
done.
done. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, I mean, I'm not even playing in like so the next convention I'm going to in 2 weeks, actually, ShireCon. I'm running Weird Frontiers. All
Oh
right.
yeah, that's cool.
So I'm running that, and then I'm playing in um 3 games the following day. None of they're not even running 5e, or maybe there's only one table running 5e.
Hmm.
And the rest are all someone's running Shadow Dark. I just couldn't schedule
Shadow
it
Dark
for.
T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, that's something I want to get once the books I think are coming out in October.
I think so. That's what
Yeah.
I saw. Yeah, this was on
Yeah.
our website.
Oh, yeah.
I see
Yeah.
it past my freaking.
I'll have to get it.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I grabbed one. I grabbed one actually before the Kickstarter release.
yeah.
They've had it for a while, but I just there's another thing that sucked me in, like the art is what sucked me
Yeah.
into that game. And there's a thing
I
about supporting those small creators, like
right.
I could care less if I ever bought another
What
fifth
actually
edition
sucked me
book
into
or
it was not only just the art, which I really like, but it's you know, the book design is that it lays flat, and
yeah,
to me that's like a huge plus when you have a book that lays flat.
yeah,
And then I was like, what, I when I backed that at like 150 because it came with both the collector's book, which is the book that'll sit on my shelf,
yeah,
and then the
yeah,
the other the regular version of it, hardcover of it, which I'm going to probably end up either using that as my using book, or I'm going to give it to my niece to get her away from 5e. Even though she's the one that I gave all my 5e books to,
yeah,
I'm going to hand this to her, and she's a graphic artist for a company down in Atlanta, and I'm going to give that to her, and I'll say, listen, do us both a favor and move away from
yeah,
5e and move to this here. At least you're going to find, enough similarities, and then just some old school concepts that I think that you'll really enjoy. Plus, the art is phenomenal.
yeah. It's
So,
awesome.
so hopefully, I can get her away as she moves into her mid 20s or so. So hopefully, she's getting out of the whole mentality of 5e
Yep.
surrounding it.
Yeah, my son told me that because he ran some 5e for us this summer
Mhm.
before he left, and
Yeah.
which it was fun. Like you got to play with my son and on the other side of the screen and some of the other guys from my group. So it was a good time. Not my favorite system, but a good time. But he's even told me that
Mm.
he wants to try to run something in Castles and Crusades because he does like the
Yep.
system, and that's pretty good coming from a kid that. I mean, he's pretty much only played 5e. He's played Call of Cthulhu once, maybe twice, and he played Free League's Aliens for one session, and he liked all of them. But his foundation is 5e, and but he's like, he really likes Castles and
Mm.
Crusades. He wasn't sure at first, but now he's on board and really digs it. Christ, even
Mm.
my oldest friend that plays in my group, well, one of my oldest friends, he was really on the fence about switching from 5e. He kind of likes to do the, build the power characters and stuff,
Yeah,
but
I
he's a
remember
really good
you.
role
I
player
remember
too.
like either listening to you, like talking about that, or reading one of your comments
Mm,
about that. But yeah, I
yeah,
remember
and he's
talking
like
about that
100%.
recently.
Like he goes because we're playing some other 5e games online, and he's like, I think all our DMs should switch to Castles and Crusades. He's like,
Yeah.
it's way better than he goes I ever thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I
I'm
really
reading.
like it.
I'm reading L's thing here. So, Dragon Slayer can't be copywritten because it's a common use term. Anyone who kills a dragon is a dragon slayer. So you really can't copyright the term. Number one.
He meant he mentioned something about that copyright in Diversity and Dragons stream, and
Hmm.
how I don't think it is. Like somebody go watch it. Don't quote me
Hmm.
because I'm a bonehead, but I do remember him talking about that because he researched it. He said he researched it, and that the movie. I don't know. It was open for him to grab it.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
So
It's like
it's not like it's a
it's
you
it's
know
a it's a term you can call anyone a dragon slayer. You can
yeah
call Bard from you can call Bard from the Two Towers a dragon
yeah
slayer. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It's a common term. So I think that I think that it would be a kind of a tough sell. Disney, I don't think is suing anybody. Disney is Disney. We're just sitting. We're just sitting here. Yesterday, we have Spectrum Cable, right? Which used to be Time Warner. Now it's Spectrum Cable. It's the only cable
Yeah.
company we have in our town, and pretty
That's what
much
I
it's,
have too.
it's one of the major cable companies in the state of New York. And Disney just got pulled from it, or Disney just pulled all of their channels from it.
I saw
So
your post
yeah,
on Twitter asking if you were going to get a discount because they're
yeah.
losing
Well, we
almost.
should, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we have no we have no Disney. I canceled Disney Plus, 2 weeks ago. We have no ABC because that's a Disney
Mm,
thing too. So a major local channel is
yeah.
off, and they're not going back. I think they were saying something like they wanted 30% increase on every single channel. Because some of them are not packaged in, so it would impact multiple packages that are on the cable thing. And someone said it would drive the price on your cable bills up by something like $60 or $90 a month
Yeah.
increase,
Wrong.
just
For all of
from
us.
Disney. So Spectrum was like, now we're just going to drop you then, or just let you pull. We're not going to pay you this because we're
Yeah.
not going
No.
to pass that on to our subscribers. And so it's gone. And I was like,
They're
yeah,
probably starting to feel the burn from all their bombs that they've been releasing in the
well, yeah, and
cinema.
they're not
Getting
learning
crushed.
anything. My
No.
belief is, and this is just my conspiracy, thing. I think that Bob Iger probably has a secret portfolio where he's shorting the sale of stock, and he's going to make billions from the bankruptcy of Disney because it's the only either that or he's a total idiot. He's not
Yeah.
that intelligent and doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
one or
crazy.
the other. He's either purposefully tanking the company, or he's an idiot. So whichever one, or possibly both, or whatever. It's just like, with Kathleen Kennedy must give the greatest head on the planet, because I don't
She's gonna
understand
be
how the
spectacular.
hell she I don't
Because if
understand how she
anybody,
still has a
if
job.
anybody else galactically frigged up their job or
Yeah.
business as bad as she has, they'd have been fired a long time ago. But
Yeah,
she endures.
it's like, or she knows every skeleton in the closet that anybody
That's
has,
a
or
possibility as
whatever.
well too.
I just don't get it. I just don't
Yeah,
get how you can let your. I mean, they're on par with like Bud Light. It's like, how could
yep.
you just let your every
Every
single IP you
one.
own
They ruined
get
every one. I mean,
destroyed?
now they're the idiot that they hired to play Snow White, who's
Yeah,
not
yeah. I
not
mean, it's
white.
just
She's already murdered. I mean, it was already gonna suck, but
yeah.
she's
No,
put the final
no.
nail in that coffin.
Yeah. It's just, they really shouldn't even release that movie.
No,
They're gonna
no,
take it.
absolutely
They're
not.
gonna take a loss on that movie if they release it.
Huge.
They shouldn't even bother releasing it. They should just
Yeah.
say, "We're shelving the whole thing. We're sorry." I mean, it's the same thing that Bud Light should have done. They should have said, "You
Yep.
know what? We're everyone involved with the marketing decision has been fired."
Yep.
That's
They're
what they should
gone
have done
for
the day
sure.
after.
Yeah.
And they would have kept $18 billion, $20 billion in their value, if they had done
Yeah.
that.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's almost like, I know people talk about, well, there's this ESG score or whatever, and they're more concerned about, the economic, social, and whatever, you know fake social credit that they get for this, and that compensates them for billions of dollars worth of loss. I mean, where's the shareholders just
Yeah.
suing?
They should
You
be
know,
losing their minds.
yeah, they should be losing their boards. They should be just removing their
Yeah.
entire boards of these, multi-billion dollar companies, and just say, you're all fired, and
Yep.
just taking it over, and then saying, nope, the shareholders are just removing all of you. But I don't get it. I really don't get it. That's why I say there has to be some kind of an ulterior motive involved in it,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't. Cal, someone banned me for saying Max is on Clownfish TV. What? I don't know. Hey, Cal, how's it going, by the way?
Thanks, Cal.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
So my choices are: he is a criminal or an idiot. Can I get a third option? Both? Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, like I said, he might be all of those things.
Yeah.
Might be all of
He's
those
good.
things. I think that he has to be making money off the
He's got to.
off
Something's
shortening.
going. I mean,
He's got to be making money on the short. That's how Soros made all his money: short selling currencies. So tanking economies to make your billions. Are we talking about the same Clownfish? Or like, who's like Clownfish TV?
yeah.
I know it's a channel. I mean,
I
I
don't
watch
watch
it
it very
here and
often.
there, but I don't really watch it that much. I know they're working on an RPG as well.
Yep. I
They're
heard.
not-
I did
yeah,
hear that.
yeah. They mentioned that a couple months ago, but isn't it? I guess everybody is, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's the thing to do, I guess.
Everybody seems to be working on something, and we get back
Well,
to that same old question. How many retro clones do I actually need?
I think in part too, like I know from listening to Greg there on the Diversity and Dragons the other night, part of his thing was the OGL thing and not
Mhm.
wanting to be beholden to it and doing his own thing so he could you know, and having something that they talked about. If you wanted to write for it, you could, because it has a license. It's going to be geared that way, which is all, you know, beyond me. But I think that might be part of it. But yeah, it does. It comes back to like, well, how many of these? I mean, how many am I going to reasonably run? I'm such a sucker though, because
Mm.
I was like, I wasn't even looking at that, and then I was watching Diversity and Dragons, which I typically do, and I was listening, and then they flashed that freaking easily cover, and I was like, dang it. So couple clicks later. And then I was looking at it, and you could get the Dwaro Deep, which or any of them, but
Mhm.
I've been wanting to get Dwaro Deep
Yeah.
to mine for ideas, and so I ended up backing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the various things, and like someone else already said, you know, all of these things coming out at the same time is, you know,
Yep.
I don't have $500 to throw
Yeah.
toward a bunch of games that I'm probably not going to see for at least 6 months. And how often am I going to run them? How often am I going to play them? It's not like you're going to see them on Roll 20, you know, or you know, like at least with Shadow Dark, I see already at conventions. It's or at least
Yeah. It
most
seems
local
pretty
one that
popular.
is going to be run. I mean, that you're going to see run at a
Yeah.
convention because it's very, very easy to pick up. It's kid friendly, and you're going to see it out there with, you know, you're going to see it out there being played. So I'm almost certain that it will, when I go to Rising Phoenix in April, that's that one in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Um,
gonna try to go to that.
that's
That's fun.
they will have Shadow Dark there. I might even run Shadow Dark there.
Yeah, it'll
You
be
know,
their Facebook page is super busy. Like there's people every
yeah,
day. Like I don't know how many posts they get a day, but it's a lot, I think. Which
yeah,
is
yeah.
fine.
No,
Great.
that's
Love the enthusiasm.
yeah, that's going to be a big
Or
one. That's
making
going to
stuff
be
for it. And
yeah, it's going to be
crazy.
over. I'll say it's going to be over 300 people this, you know, this upcoming year. Um, that's my big one for their, you know, that's my big one for the whole kind of convention season. I just can't get out to Wisconsin for any of those as much as I want to. There's just no way. There's just no way it can happen.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
can't
go
drive
to
15 miles, 15 hours.
Gamehole Con, but um
Well,
I
that's
was
in
supposed to go to
Ohio,
Gamehole
right?
Con.
That's in
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
I think so. I've
Yeah,
never been, but my friend that owns the game store, he was
yeah,
going, and he asked me if I wanted to go with him, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then I found
yeah.
out having a kid graduate from high school is expensive, so that didn't happen.
Oh my God, Clownfish teamed up with former WoW dev that mocked Starfield, Grums, and with new TSR PR spy Michael Overmail for the TTRPG therapy. Jesus Christ. That's a
Wonderful.
it's a long string of a lot of different people. So
Mm,
you know,
some I recognize.
yeah. I know Starfield, I just recently Starfield is getting attacked now for colonialism. Some
Oh, geez.
nonsense. It
Of
was
course
like,
it is.
yeah,
Of course it is. Got to be
yeah,
attacked for something. Sure, it's offended somebody somehow, like
yeah.
everything does. It's nonsense.
It checks the nostalgia box hard. Yeah, plus it has, and he's talking about Shadow Dark.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah, it certainly does. Certainly
yeah,
does.
it's both the nostalgia, but it has enough new feel to it
Yeah.
that it is truly a bridge between 5e working towards OSR, not the other way around. Because I've seen it depicted as this is a 5e clone. Absolutely not. It is
No,
absolutely not a 5e clone at
it
all.
isn't.
You don't have any of the feats or the, you know, any of those
No.
other things to it. You know, there's none of the multiple death saves or, you know, almost all of the things that are primarily what you think about with 5e is not there. So
No.
how you can call it a 5e clone is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
foolish. Just because it took
it's
like advantage,
yeah,
disadvantage, which is actually not a bad mechanic.
right, and
Really.
that's not even a 5e mechanic.
Cool.
Advantage disadvantage goes back to the early 2000s. And I know someone will probably attack me not knowing exactly which game system it came out of, but that was not a 5e thing, or it wasn't even a TSR or a Wizards of the
Oh,
Coast.
yeah, I remember somebody talking about that. I don't remember what system they were talking about, but said that they used the same thing. I've watched a couple people, like Todd Michael Putnam. He has a channel,
Hmm.
has a really great Facebook page for table builds.
Hmm.
He's using Shadow Dark, and he's streamed a few of his group's games, and they're
Hmm.
in-person games. And yeah, it's not 5e because man, there's people dropping like flies.
Yeah.
It's good. It seems fun.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. And
Uh,
one of the things I try to do is like if anybody like sometimes I'm panning my wicked high speed iPhone camera that I'm using.
mm,
But if people see stuff, and they want a better look at it, I've done a couple things. I think people ask about, oh, what about this? So I went back and did another short video just saying, hey, this is what this is. But
and I wish that were
we
completely
do,
true.
we
Yeah.
do.
I wish I
do.
had still even being semi-retired. Um, I don't know. I still don't have time for 3 sessions a week. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
still don't have time for 3 sessions a week. I wish I did, but I don't.
It's weird.
Um,
Sometimes, you do. I go through these things. Like I'm not super busy, but there will be times where
mhm,
I have stuff going on.
yeah,
But like I spent all day yesterday, um, working, like working on stuff like
yeah,
painting, and I painted like two miniatures. I got a big terrain piece that I'm painting. I worked on that. I did some writing for my games. Wrote up an NPC
mm,
for the next session. It was a great day. I just spent the whole day messing around with that. Today I did a
yeah,
little bit of that and played some Xbox and
yeah.
went down, had dinner with my in-laws and
Well, my
came
thing
back
has
here.
been I've been playing um, Baldur's Gate 3 and just messing
Yeah,
around.
I haven't played that yet.
Yeah,
I've been playing that's what I was doing earlier. Wrath of the Righteous, which is based on a Pathfinder AP,
right.
and on Xbox. I've been playing that. And the
Oh,
day
that's
before
their
yesterday, that's
yeah.
what I spent the day doing.
Mm.
It's pretty fun. Pretty fun. I mean,
Yeah, I've been
that system is not for me. Is like
yeah,
is a to actual play because it's
mm,
way too crunchy for me. Like if you're into
right.
that, that's probably the system to go to. I would say because it's holy crap the characters you can build. But I like it really because I like the setting. Like it's based on old first edition Pathfinder, and the setting's kind of interesting. So like the story behind it and stuff is pretty cool. Yeah, she's super nice. Like my cousin back Shadow Dark, and he's had nothing. He's had like a bunch of hiccups with his pledge, and like she took care of all that stuff,
Yeah,
personally. Yeah, it was super nice. Yeah, she
yeah.
seems super nice. I read her before that thing ever launched. She had a blog on her. It was
Mhm,
still up, but it was kind of like I'm gonna butcher this, but it was talking about basically kind of the deficiencies with 5e, I guess. Like,
mhm,
and I was like, oh, okay, this is not what I expected, and
right.
I in a good way. Like, I was like, oh, this
Yeah,
is somebody I want to pay attention to, and then I went to the link that showed Shadow Dark, and like I said, as soon as I saw the art, I was like, oh, yeah, man,
yeah. Yeah, it was, and just the layout and everything like that, like,
yeah,
she released the PDFs, you could see it, and you could see this
yeah.
is gonna be really cool. So,
Heck, the when you level, I'm not an expert. I've looked through it. I have the PDFs, but I'm just waiting to get the book. But I think when you level up, even the abilities you get are random. Like there's a table you roll on. Like you don't get to pick them. I guess you could, but the way it's written is you roll and you get a random upgrade.
disagree, Al. Absolutely disagree. It is more old school than more old school than 5e.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's just far closer to old school than 5e.
Has the like roll to cast as a
Yeah.
rule. I think
Yeah.
that was coming up in the live games I was watching.
Yeah. I mean, her influences, and I mean, she came out and said it, her influences are primarily DCC and Index Card RPG,
Yep.
and then the AD&D first edition that she was playing in the gaming group, in Gary Gygax's house, and then back in the day with some of the members of his group. And she never came out and said exactly whom it was that she was playing with, or at least I didn't pick up on that. I think she does in one of
think
her
she did,
videos.
but I don't remember the name. And she talked
Yeah,
about meeting Gary and
yeah. So she was, I mean, she's more old school than she is 5e, even though she's done quite a bit of writing, third party writing for 5e. Her game system is closer to old school than it is 5e.
I mean,
So
the other thing
it
too
is
is
not rooted in
sadly it's like, for 5e you gotta, I mean, it is the biggest thing out there. So if like you're like her trying to start out, like,
Mhm.
are you gonna write stuff for like
Yeah.
things that nobody knows about, or are you gonna write
No,
something
no,
and make a little money?
it was a very, very smart play.
Yeah.
Yes, it was someone from Gary's inner circle for a long time, gamers. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Um,
don't remember the name. I'm pretty sure I've heard her say it, but I'm horrible
it
with
wasn't
names, to
my
be honest.
car. Was it my
No,
car?
I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah,
remember her telling that story, and then
yeah. She has a
the
video
story
where
about meeting
she talks.
Gary at a con.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited to get it in hand and take a look at it, and maybe with my connection over the game store, we might do something with it. I'm looking at next month, hopefully, or actually now we're in September, maybe this month. My the owner of that store he's going to fire up a weekly campaign. We're either going to play uh, Forbidden Lands or the new Dragonbane.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I've played
Yep.
2 sessions of 2 different Free League games, and I enjoyed them both quite a bit. Matter of fact, if I wasn't running Castles and Crusades, I would probably run Forbidden Lands for my
Yeah.
fantasy, or Dragonbane. I haven't looked at it too deep because
Mm.
I don't want to spoil anything that my friend's going to run. So I looked
Right.
through the rule book and a little bit and stuff, but it looks
Yeah.
awesome. There's a neat part in the back of the book where it's a random adventure generator, and it's all based off these dice rolls. And I actually used that for one of my sessions to start ahead of time, but my son and I actually rolled it up, and it was kind of neat. It was kind of neat. Looks
So,
good, like all their stuff does.
yeah, maybe it was my car then. That sounds correct.
Oh,
He was
maybe.
DM for her.
Yeah.
So my car, if you watch The Secrets of Blackmore, my
Yeah, I've
car
watched that
was the
many times.
connection between Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax. Without my car, those two weren't coming together.
Oh, wow.
Because he played in both of their groups,
Yeah, that's
and so
cool. I haven't watched that in a long time.
yeah,
I should
he did
watch
the
it again.
introduction between the two, and that other YouTuber who doesn't like to give Dave Arneson any
Anybody
credit
give me
whatsoever.
credit? Yeah.
It's you have to give more credit to Mike Carr, because without that introduction, Gary Gygax would have still been wargaming,
Right.
and Dave Arneson would have never gotten his creative ideas put to paper and marketed, because he kept everything in his head. So
Yep.
he would have been truly role playing, and Gary would have still been, 40 years later, probably wargaming, and been
Yep.
just as happy, either way without it. And bringing them together, you had the creativity and the vision and the marketing skill that came together. And that's what made it really explode, was, those two, you wouldn't have it without both. And so that's the real gist of it. That's the real genesis of D&D, is the fact that those three individuals, I mean, sure, Kay and the others, they provided the money, but
Right. Not the
the,
creative influence, though.
not the creative influence or the introductions or anything like that. So I have CNC love to play it. Yes. you
That's
would
great.
love to play it, or you love to play in it. I have CNC love to play in it. Yeah, so I don't know if that's hey, if I get a group going, you let me know. If you want to jump in on it, you'd be welcome. Yeah, damn wars, right? No, because there's no war between it. It's like, first of all, only my car is left, number one. So, and the bottom line was that you can give each person the credit that they're due. You know,
Sure.
Gary was the
Should. They all
marketer,
deserve it.
Dave was the visionary, and my car was the one that brought them together. There's no disputing that. So there's nothing to fight over it.
I mean, before their fallout, I mean, one of the
Mm,
books there that I have that Gygax wrote, he talks about
mm,
how with Dave they created this, and
mhm.
it's like right there in black and white.
Yeah.
Like you can have all the delusions you want as you're driving around delivering your Uber Eats or whatever the hell you're doing, but um, he wrote it. That's what it says. So they had a falling out, which is that's not good. That's sad, but it
Yeah,
happens.
my
Yeah, Mike
friends,
wins. He came out. He's the last man standing.
yeah, he's still the last man standing. You have to go
Yep.
to Dave Con to meet my car. And some of the others from the Blackmore group as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so they're still kicking around at that one.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yes, no, that's true. That's true. Actually, Dave Arneson passed first, correct? Did he pass
I don't know.
before Gary or after? He might have passed after.
I think it was after,
I
but
Yeah,
I'm
he might
not
have passed
a
after.
great historian, but I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, it might have been after. Mike was 20 when he worked on first edition, right? Um, well, my car worked on. Well, you keep on saying first edition, and I'm thinking you're thinking about AD&D, which I think my car worked on earlier than that. So my car was earlier than AD&D first edition, but he might have been he might have been younger than 20 then. AD&D was 79. At least
Yeah.
that's when the Monster Manual first came out. So, and I think the Player's Handbook might have came out in 79 as well. The DMG came out slightly afterward. That was the order that they published them in. Because Gary, I remember reading in his book, Gary said that he thought that the Monster Manual was the core that they built the rest of the game system around.
Oh, that's interesting.
2003. What are you talking about? 2003. I'm confused. The first edition of what in 2003? CNC? CNC wasn't released until 2004, I think. 4 and
Yeah,
5.
I don't have other over there. I just have the latest
I have
printings.
the small ones. Yeah, I have the I put them away in the closet. I was running out of room for my CNC. I don't have any more room on that shelf.
I am too. My
All of
top
this
shelf
stuff.
is
So,
full of it.
oh,
More
okay.
coming.
Well, no, Dave passed the year after, so that means that Dave passed in 2009, not 2003. Monster Manual was not 77. We got it with no, it was not 77. I got it here. The Monster Manual was 79.
Well,
Well, I mean, this isn't oh yeah, you're right, 77. But was it released in 77?
78 it says for this player's
Yeah.
handbook.
Yeah, mine says 77, 78. But was it written in 77 and then I don't remember it coming out that early. It might have been written in 77, but just yeah, I don't know. DMG was 79. All right. I just looked at mine. It says 77, 78. So the DMG was 79. And I was thinking the DMG was
Yep.
80, but
Yep, 79.
yeah. All right. So 77, 78, and 79. The player's handbook. All right. I knew the order. I just didn't know the it was just a year off for everything. Not that yeah. This is 78. So the player's handbook 78. So 77, 78, 79. All right. I didn't get them until 79. Well, we didn't start playing AD&D until 79.
I got mine in 1984. Still got
Yeah.
my mom's. My mom put the date in it when she gave it to me for Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I don't have my original one, so I ended up buying these over about 3 years ago or so. So
they're in rough shape. Because I had a freaking dog that got a hold of them.
So one book per year. Well, thank you for clarifying that, L.
I lucked out. I made out like a bandit one Christmas.
Hmm.
Got all the core books.
That's one reason I didn't switch. We just used Monsters with Basic. All right. Yeah, we did switch. My group did switch. We moved from Basic, which I didn't buy my first box set until Moldvay's box set, because I was always using and always playing with my friends, the other two DMs. I didn't start actually DMing D&D until probably about 80, and then I was more of an AD&D player than I was a DM. I was running different games. We ran so many different games that I was the one running. I was running Twilight 2000, Call of Cthulhu, Villains and Vigilantes, and Star Frontiers. My friend Adam was running AD&D, Villains and Vigilantes, Gamma World.
Wow.
And our first DM, Shayna, was running D&D Basic, probably Holmes Edition. So this would have been 77 or 78-ish. So he was running D&D Holmes Edition, let's say, and then he did some Castles. I'm sorry. He did some Call of Cthulhu, and he did Gangbusters. All right. So each of us were playing different, or running different games, and then we were playing 6 days a week. We were playing, awesome. We were playing 6 days a week for 10 years. We played 6 days a week for 10, all through, the latter part of elementary school, junior high, and high school. We were playing every day after school for 3-4 hours, and then almost all day Saturday, and Sunday was the only day that we weren't getting together. And literally we did that for, like I said, about 10 years, so, wow. When people, I've run 10,000 sessions. It's well, yeah, back in the day when we were all kids and everything, we used to play every single day after school. I mean, is, yeah, you could rack up. You could wrap up if you're the only DM, you're racking up 300 sessions a year.
Yep.
Do that for 10 years, and you're at you're at 3,000 sessions, alone. So so anyway, yeah, it was
These
easier
are the
back
good old
then.
days.
So much, yeah. It's good old day. I never did homework when I was in school. I was always, never did that. I always did that in the morning before it was due.
Yeah,
You
it's the
know,
best time, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dang
Yeah,
kids,
we
yeah.
only really played D&D. Like
Mm,
we didn't venture out, which really was too bad because I remember when like third edition came in, and I played with a couple of my buddies. We played D&D, and then they looked at third edition before I did. I didn't want to switch. Like I was running AD&D. I was like, no, I'm good. And they dragged me into it. And I remember hearing about, short time after Castles and Crusades, but because I had only played D&D forever, like it had to
mm,
be kind of like a guy we know, right?
yeah.
Official D&D. But if I had seen Castles, if I had actually looked at Castles and Crusades back then, I would have switched to that. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
best version of the game I've played. Like I started
Mm,
with I don't know, whatever the I always get the names mixed up, but
mm,
my first was the basic expert with the Errol Otis covers.
yeah.
Uh, so I played those, and then I
Mm,
played those, and then the first one I bought was the Red Box. I bought it
yeah,
from Sears and Roebuck, actually. Ordered it.
yeah. Yeah, that was, like you said, that was the good old days, when I had all of this stuff, and 2000 rolled around, and I had a garage sale, when we were just getting
Mm,
married, and had a garage sale, and never forget it. I had all the stuff that I brought from my house on Long Island when we're moving into our apartment, and we set up right on the secondary driveway, and I had everything laid out there and just sold everything off,
yeah.
and come 2015, I'm getting back into it again, and I'm like, all right, now I gotta buy all the shit at like
Buy it again.
40 to $80 a book. When when
Yeah.
originally I probably only paid about 20 for the
Oh, they
stuff.
were so
And
cheap back then.
yeah,
So cheap.
but
I remember
when you
paying like I think it was like
yeah,
$15 a book
yeah,
or
when you
something.
compare it, like compare it to like what 5e is doing now, what Wizards of the Coast is doing now, you're going to pay $60 for a hardback. Trust me, you can find copies of the AD&D first edition books for 60
Easy.
bucks. You can get them for 60. Not the deities and demigods 144. You're going to pay 120 for
Right.
that, or if you're lucky, you're going to pay 120 for that. Um, but for most of them in, halfway decent condition, which is probably holding up better than 5e books are. Um,
Yeah.
you know, you can get them,
Oh,
you
hell
can
yeah.
replace the core 3 books for 120. If you're
And there's
lucky, you
so
can get it for about
even
120.
and then if you want to branch out, there's just so many great games out there that are so much more affordable with way
Mm,
better quality. Like I always revert back to this thing. So I bought this for like
mm,
$40 on Amazon. It's
yeah.
their Forbidden
Mhm.
Lands. And like it comes with 2 books that are like
Yeah.
this, like,
Yeah.
with friggin' killer art, black and white art. That's like $40. Like it's 1,000 times better in quality and production than
Mm,
Wizards of the Coast, which my 5e player's handbook, we have a picture of my son the last time he ran a game for us. It's literally in pieces
mm,
because it just fell apart because
yeah.
it's garbage. Freaking garbage.
Oh yeah, we ran
Yeah.
GURPS as well. I forgot to mention we ran
I had a
GURPS.
friend of mine,
Um,
one of my guys that I started gaming with, my buddy Thad, he got into that. He never ran a session for us, like, and it wouldn't have been a system for me because I'm not a numbers guy. So like, he was going on and on about it, but he never launched.
Well,
So I was
GURPS,
like, oh,
we played mostly Conan with GURPS, and Conan had all of the they had the solo adventure books. for Conan.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I ran solo for Conan plus Conan. I also ran and actually Adam ran TSR's Conan.
I have that.
That was another one of our
Yep.
go-to games as well. And then GURPS came out and we started playing GURPS for Conan. But I mean, most of the stuff behind me, I've actually played and ran and did whatever. I mean, it was like almost everything I have is stuff that I ran, with the exception of second and third edition. I was not was
Yeah, I
what
run
wasn't
second.
running or playing second edition. I didn't play second edition until probably a couple years ago. Was the first time that I played it, and then I played it at the last convention I was at. I'm pretty sure one of my games coming up at the con is second edition as well. So I play at more cons than I do that I've run it. I ran for Golden Glory, which is the retro clone of second edition. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard
yeah,
of that.
that's actually a pretty solid game. That's a pretty solid retro clone. It really does organize a lot of this stuff better, and very smooth running game.
Yeah, we borrowed stuff from second edition to run in AD&D, but
Yeah.
I have some of the books, and I think I inherited like the core books from one of my
Mhm.
players because he left them at my house and then never grabbed them when he came back. So I ended up with them, but we never like officially ran like second edition. Like I just never saw the need for it. Like I was playing AD&D, so I was like, cool. I like that idea. I'll steal that and put it in my game, and to I think to this new generation of gamers, that's kind of like a foreign concept. Like they have to
Yeah.
be permission to do anything. It's
Hmm.
like, why? Why? I don't need anybody's permission to do
Yeah.
anything in games.
Yeah.
I just,
We're not. I know you're using that term permissioned. Yeah. Nobody permissions us to do anything. Wizards of the
yeah,
Coast does not permission us. You know,
yeah,
just because something is in Magic the Gathering doesn't mean that you're now suddenly permissioned to use. No, it was like you do whatever the hell you want at your table. You
yeah.
know,
If you want to put
you, you know,
yo-yos in your D&D, go ahead. I don't
yeah.
care. Like you don't
Um,
have to need Wizards permission to do it.
yeah,
Do whatever you
Cal,
want.
you shouldn't
No,
sell your
hold on to
original.
that bad boy.
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't believe I got my copy for 120. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's
I was
cheap.
like, I
What
was
it is.
expecting that thing to bid to well over 200 at the time, because that's usually what it was doing. And when it closed out at 120, I was like, holy shit, I actually won this thing.
I
And
got it.
that was after already paying like 40 for for the other one. And I had Legends and Lore and I sold it back. I resold that, because I was like, I only got Legends and Lore because I couldn't find the other two, really the other one for anything less than 300. And then, I eventually kept on just replacing them out and everything. So now I have them both. I was like, all right, one will open and the other one I leave, pretty much intact, but they're both in pretty decent condition. Do not buy POD 1E stuff. Do not buy it. You're giving
It's not about
you're giving Wizards of the Coast money for a product they can't stand. You know what I'm saying? It's like
that they put disclaimers on.
they're putting the disclaimers on it. Why I would pirate it before I'd give them a cent. All right.
Yep.
And I don't care to say that, because they pirate shit all the time. They give no credit to the original creators. No one will own up to it. I've been asking it at all of the larger YouTubers. All right. I'm talking about, the big ones, 50,000 plus, that have been reviewing Big B's, presents the giant, presenting the giants thing. And I've asked every single one of them on their streams or on their videos, do they give any credit to Robert Kuhns for the creation of Bigby? And not a single person answers that question, which gives me my answer.
Right.
No mention.
I don't
No
want to
mention.
upset their.
It is
Mm.
plagiarism. All right. Sure, they own the IP. Sure, they own Bigby the character. All right. But what they don't own is the creation of the character. And they should be given credit. They are literally plagiarizing the older creators, and we all know that they rubbed Jeff Easley's name, his signature, off of his painting, all right, for a promotional piece. So that is that's why I don't, I would never fault anyone for pirating anything off of Wizards of the Coast, because they don't give credit to the creators of the IP that they own, but they don't give credit to the creators. You should never take away the credit. You should never not cite who created it. All right. Owning it doesn't give you the right to strip somebody of that right. And so that's why I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about this thing. I'm waiting to get a copy of, the PDF where it has the full thing. All right, where it doesn't just go right to the table of contents and move forward. I want to see the cover page.
Yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
look next time. I thumbed through it, but I didn't look for that specifically. But
yeah,
I will next time
that's what
that
I
it's
want to
off.
see. I want to see the cover page where does it mention Robert Kuntz at all?
I'm willing to bet no.
Yeah, I don't think so, because like I said, I've asked all of these big creators. I've asked it on Dungeon Craft. I've asked it on not Nerdarchy, the other one, Nerd Immersion. I've asked
Immersion.
on the Lazy Dungeon Master. I've asked every single one of them in every one of their videos talking about that book. Do they give any credit to Robert Kuntz? And not a single answer on that. So I know his name isn't there.
I was actually really surprised they even bothered to come up with a reason why he's not human anymore.
Well, they wanted to
They
do that
didn't.
because they don't want to, no, they explained the reason he was killed.
Yeah, they do. I
Warden
was surprised
Keenan
by
didn't
that.
have the ability to bring him back, which, I mean, he's a freaking archmage. I'm sure that they had a cleric of the same, or even
Yeah,
a hero
somewhere.
deity. I'm sure that they had the ability, to, I mean, they don't have a raised dead scroll. What I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like,
I was shocked that they actually came up with that, like something to explain the change. I just expected them do the usual and just swap stuff out to
well, but
appease.
no, because they wanted to do two things. They wanted to market off the name of Bigby,
Oh yeah.
and they wanted to change the race, because the last thing that they want to do is highlight a white male
Oh yeah.
character. So, they had to do both things, because they could not keep him as a white male, just like Morden Kanan in no, I'm sorry, just like Elminster in the movie could not be a
Yeah.
white male, and so that's what they had to do, or they felt they had to do. Let's say.
Yep. Sad. Sad state of affairs. Yeah, I've looked through. I just don't. I don't have any interest in it.
Yeah, I've never played it.
I haven't even.
Panther.
No. Mm,
They don't know who Kuntz is.
you're
Well,
probably right.
and that's another reason why they shouldn't be making D&D. That's
D&D.
why it's not D&D. It's
Yeah.
why it's not D&D, because they don't know the the lore and the genesis of the IP that they own.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I remember
All right, let's see.
that.
But they know a lot of yeah. Yeah. Uh what was that
It
movie?
was a movie. It was something for the movie. They, I think, but the promotional thing they did was
The
Pathfinder
promotional
art
poster was they
poster. Yeah.
had, let's see, they had the
Displacer Beast, wasn't it? Wasn't it from Pathfinder?
no, it was the Intellect Devourer
Oh yeah.
from Pathfinder.
Yep. Yep. That's right. Yeah. I don't
Yep.
like how does that it's like the thing with the giant the Bigby book and they had the AI art. I mean that
Yeah.
they said that that wasn't new. Like it was one they know that guy doesn't
Well,
mind the
the guy
fact that he's
boasted
using
about
AI.
using it, and they had
No, he's
their
they had
editor
then they
had it
had it
for
for a
8
while.
months.
And
They don't
um,
care. They don't care
no,
about
it's stupid.
releasing it. They just didn't like getting caught.
Right. They then the last thing I saw with the new thing they're coming out with Fandelver, they've gone in and like changed some of the NPCs that were in the
Mhm.
original
Yeah.
thing. Which I played the original. I came in midway through it and it was actually a fun adventure, but like
Mhm.
why?
Yeah.
What kills me is like what we talked about before. All these people, well, this very vocal group of people that are championing for all these stupid changes, either in gaming or movies or whatever, like and specifically in gaming, they feel like it has to be they have to have that permission. It has to be, like you can just do it. Like if you get a product and a module and you want to change one of the NPCs, you want to change them in, from a man to a woman to whatever, you can just do it. You don't need you don't need to mess with like the material. Like the company doesn't need to, especially when they go back and change what was already established. That's what annoys me. I'm like, I don't care. Like I love different type of characters and stuff. What I hate is when you have an established character and you change it just so you can appease somebody that's probably not going to buy your product anyway.
Yeah. Yes, Cal, I've heard very good things about it as well. Um, it's Free League. Legend of Five
No,
Rings, Free League. Yes, I think
no,
so. No,
I don't know. I don't think so. They do a
someone tell
bunch
me
of
if it's
stuff.
Free League. I know they do so many things.
They have a lot of different games. It's crazy, and they're all killer.
Yeah,
They do like a great job.
the irony of being an intellectual hour being stolen intellectual property. Yes. Um,
Let's see. Let's see. Looking at their
changed hands
catalog.
several years ago. So, S Panther is saying it changed hands several times. It was probably Free
Yeah,
League at one point.
yeah.
Um,
It's not currently Free League. It's not in their
yeah.
catalog, but
Um,
compared to the ton of other games they have.
a lot of movies beat D&D at the box office.
Yeah, it wasn't super hard.
Well, Super Mario, my God, that crushed it.
Crushed it.
Absolutely
Yeah,
crushed it.
crushed. That
Yeah.
that was a boneheaded move on Paramount for releasing D&D around the same time that movie was coming out. Like,
Well,
I
they
don't know.
delayed it twice because
Yeah,
so one time they delayed it because they had to do a rewrite because they wanted to put Drizzt in it
yeah. Instead of the
and
Paladin.
RA Salvatore was asking for money to do so, I guess, and they didn't want to pay him. So they had to rewrite there. That's what put the Paladin in it. And then there was another delay around the OGL because they couldn't release it then. They didn't want to push it to the summertime, I guess, because they were trying to sell E1 Entertainment.
Oh
And
yeah, I remember that.
right, they were trying to sell that around the same time because they wanted to sell the company along with the movie before the movie actually released because they knew it was going to be shit.
Yeah, it did not do well. I
No, they
mean,
got like a domestic. I forget what it was, but it was under 100 million domestic.
I saw they took a $25 million bath on it.
Yeah, yeah, they had to pay their creditors, right? There's like a company that finances movies, and they had to pay them off like 25 million. So it made even less than what they're claiming because they had to give them like a $25 million reimbursement for it. Yeah, so 93 domestic, but then it becomes after the 25 million, it really does bring that down to, somewhere in the 60s, like 68
Yeah.
million is what it made domestic because they had to give up that money. Um, so yeah, it definitely 125 million impairment on Hasbro, for Hasbro. So yeah, because of the marketing and everything like that. So yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so that overall that movie probably only made if you're looking at that, like around 60 million complete,
Yeah.
and it cost them 150 to make it, and it cost them another 150 to market it. So they took a bath in that movie.
Yep. As soon as they came out and said it was going to be a comedy, I knew it was going to not do well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are not wrong.
Sound of Freedom crushed it, and that movie only cost 14 million to make. Sound of Freedom hit like 200 million.
Yeah.
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 Funny, that's a movie that doesn't have any connection to D&D, according to our YouTuber there. I mean,
I haven't
never been
seen a
mentioned. Nope,
connection
he's
made
never been.
yet.
Yeah, that movie wasn't connected to D&D in any kind of way.
God almighty.
Kind of interesting.
He takes some really interesting
Takes, yeah.
creative leaps.
Yeah, but not there. So let's see what else. So so I know there was some chatter and everything, some talk about Baldur's Gate 3, and again, just for clarification, Larian Studios bought the license back in 2016 for the movie. All right, so they licensed the movie the video game in 2016. None of these proceeds is going to Wizards of the Coast. You know what I'm saying? So that's the bottom line is that, and I know they're trying to glom on the credit for this movie, but all they did was license it. They had nothing to do with the creativity aspect of the game.
They
None of
shuffled Mike Merles off there because they were sick of him drawing. And I like Mike Merles' work, but
Mhm.
he was drawing all that fire on Twitter. So
Yeah.
he went and was like the creative guy with him, the consultant, which is if they're going to pick somebody out of that company, that would be the guy to pick. Nobody
Yeah,
else
yeah.
over there.
He was scapegoated. He was
Oh
scapegoated
yeah,
because
big time.
he was the last one that truly understood what D&D was.
Yep,
He was the last of the Gygaxian, game designers left
yep,
there, and that's why they got rid of him.
yep.
And
And
it
you
had
got
nothing to do with
Crawford
the
and
other
Perkins,
nonsense and
and
everything, right?
neither one of them
Crawford
are
and
worth a
Perkins
shit.
are neither one of them, and they're both 4E, and still to this day, still declare that 4E is worth a damn, and
Nope,
that's
that's
they
also not D&D.
yeah. So I think the same thing. I think that they're going to sell off Wizards of the Coast in 2027. They'll sell off D&D. They might hold on to Match of the Gathering, although they've screwed up that too, in many ways. But they will separate Magic the Gathering from the rest, and I think that they'll sell off the D&D IP because it is not their VTT is not going to get to 50 million users like they've been banking on by 2027. I don't even think it's going to be ready by 2025. There's just no way.
Now there's people saying that they think that the Baldur's Gate 3 will actually hurt it, because I guess, and my son played the beta or whatever the heck it was,
Yeah.
and he said it was awesome. I mean, we're probably going to get it when it comes out on PlayStation 5, but they're saying because that looks so good and plays so well that it's just going to crush the VTT. And obviously they're two different things for two different reasons.
Right.
But when you're dealing with I think the digital and that visual medium where Baldur's Gate looks awesome, and then comparing it to the VTT, I don't know. I'm not a big online guy player, so
Right.
I like being at a table.
Oh, I tried playing it online. I tried playing it multiplayer. Oh, it was horrible experience. It was like, if you get into a group of 4 players and they're not looking to do anything, I was like, holy shit! Like I played it for, and then they all of a sudden they have the control to just close out the whole session. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not in control of that, and you got a group of people that aren't communicating with each other, and then trying to run, you have to play that in your own private room with your own group of friends. All right. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So yeah, I literally did it for, literally did it for like less than 10 minutes before the person shut it down, because I was like, what do you, we have to move along here. We have to do something. And they weren't even moving to do anything in the opening scene. There was one guy running around just pushing everybody, using the secondary, attack, whatever they call that.
Oh yeah.
The bonus action
Yep.
of pushing everybody, and they didn't move along, weren't doing it. Then all of a sudden, boom, it just dropped. I was like, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Like my son and I wanted to play it together. That's why we're thinking about getting.
Yeah, but you're going to get stuck with 2 other people that,
Yeah.
that other, or 2 or 3 other people that aren't, might not necessarily be looking to do it. Don't know if I saw the DM Mystic Days did live at 7 p.m. I don't know. So Phallic, I don't know what you're saying there. I did an interview of the creative team of Mystic Days. Actually, the artist was actually doing art right there live during that stream.
Oh, I watched that.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was like,
That's
hey,
awesome.
yeah, that was awesome. That was a first for me to have somebody actually doing their art as we're sitting there, as he's doing it, watching him do it. Let's see. Mike Merles came up with the 6-session length. I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, he might have. I don't think Mike Merles understood D&D. He came up with the 6-session length. Oh, you'd have to ask RPG Pundit if that's who came up with the 6-session thing. I think that's what they're talking about when they came out with the basic box sets. Those things are designed for 6 sessions, and then you're done, or even less. Those might be 3-session. The adventures in the box sets. Yeah, if you don't say it works with black people around, yeah. Well, it's not a VTT though. It's not quite the same thing, but if you're going to play it the way that these people play it, I'm saying, like, you have all of the character creation kind of stuff there, and a lot of them, they don't actually play the game. They actually just create characters, and that was something that they used to say on Twitter like back in the day, like years ago, they were like, none of you actually play. All you do is you create your characters, you draw them, you draw them. You're all artists, and then you post them on the thing, but you actually don't play the game at all. And that's why, like certain people, they'll call them tourists, which drives them nuts. By the way, they hate being called tourists of a hobby.
That's what they are.
So but that's basically what they are. They're just passing through and not really engaging in the hobby, and they move on from they post their character builds. It's like anybody could have a free D&D Beyond account and just create characters all day, and oh, look, this is my my
Yep.
blue-haired tiefling bard, and you know this is what they do.
When
And all of
when we were
that.
playing 5e, we used it, and my friend that was really into the system, he used to do that. He didn't run games, but he would build characters. Like if I ever needed, like I'd run sessions for other people. If I needed pre-generated characters, I'd usually ask him because he'd have some, like, just make them. Or I'd tell him, like he was really great with the system, just bang them right out, and he'd make them for me. But I
Yeah,
never got into it. I never
yeah,
really, that was not my
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it does all the math only of the situations that it presents you with. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't do the math and the dice rolling for when you're doing stuff that has nothing to do with is already predetermined. You know what I'm saying? So it's not dice rolling when you decide that I'm going to role play talking to this merchant. You know what I'm saying? Maybe when you first spoke to him, but not any subsequent time thereafter. Um, it's not a true tabletop role playing matchup. When you're playing on a VTT, the live DM can determine this is when you're rolling dice, this is when you're not, and that kind of a thing. It's not, there's much more opportunity for you to do actions that would require a roll than in the game itself. So it doing the math, it's very selective as to when it's doing the actual math and dice rolling. Yeah, don't multiplayer with the randoms. Yeah, no, you can't. Um, oh, it's live. Thank you. All right, so that's so the Mystic Days Kickstarter is live. All right, and let's see. I'm just going to bring this up really quick because okay. And I am going to um okay, let's see. I am looking to see. I'm looking over the Mystic Days thing right now, and I don't see the initial players bundle, players book hardcover. Oh, I see what they did here. So they changed this up from what I was normally looking at originally. And you see, it went from all right. They changed it up a little bit from what it initially was listed as. So they changed the 95 to being hardcover instead of soft cover. And I was going to get the soft cover because of room purposes. So they put the soft cover into a box set now. Um, so this is what they have. Let me see, share. Okay, so here we go. Let's go right to the beginning, the front here. So they're definitely going to hit 6,500. That's without a doubt. I can't hit the video because there'll be music and then it gets copyright striked. 29 days to go. And so here's the covers, just in case you haven't seen everything. Right? I mean,
it's pretty badass.
That's really good. Want a challenging game that is not a D20 system or just another version of D&D? Well, you found it. So it's not. It's a different system. Like I said, it's more of a skill-based system, classless, and so that's where they have. So here they give you all of the details of it. It's a roll-off system. Death is on the table, action economy and combat, practically unlimited character development based upon the attribute scores and the special skills you choose. Fluid combat, realism without player distraction, extensive fisticuffs and grappling rules, offering realistic unarmed combat. All right, that'll be interesting to really dig into. Skill and attribute-based rules for practically everything, character morality. Character mortality. Rules framework. So here we go with all the no's. All right, so no death saves, no armor class, no levels, no character classes, no limits on the spells your characters can have, no alignment, and no initiative. So definitely not a clone. So Crown. Oh, this is new. Crownwind medals.
Ironwind.
Ironwind. Oh, that's Ironwind.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Ironwind medals.
I do a lot of the old Ral Pother miniatures.
Oh, is that who? Did they buy Ral Pother? Partha?
I think
Maybe
so.
he did mention
they
it.
do a
Yeah.
lot of the old.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
All right. Free download. You can get a free download. So now I could start covering the quick start rules. A Lethal Fantasy RPG by Andy Thomas and Dave Yeager. Let's see. William Hart is the artist. Yeah, he was doing the work in the.
Yeah, I saw that part. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
He was working on. I wonder if they'll show it here. He was working on this one. I was watching him work on this one here, and this one here. He showed us. Ooh, I didn't see this one. He didn't show this one earlier. That's a pretty deformed finger there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One's got some issues.
Yeah.
That's really nice art. Though.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the artwork. I mean, that's cool. We got a dwarf. So here's the dice. So D14, D16, D24, D7, D5. Even our D4 has that it won't pierce your foot. Look to it.
Caltrop pizza.
Yeah, it's not the caltrop. So,
Worse than a Lego.
ooh, shirts.
Ooh,
I
shirts are
see.
good.
So, yeah, you got the shirt add-ons. Check out the add-ons for the Kickstarter for T-shirts, mugs, and posters. Okay. See, the books themselves, like, $45 is not bad. Not bad for if these are hardcovers. Yeah, if these are hardcovers. Hardcover book is one. Yeah, so $45 for a hardcover is not bad at all.
Nope, not with that. And really good covers too.
Yeah, really, so 95 is the players package. 150 is the box set. That's with the soft cover. So the box set is soft cover. 175 for all four hardcovers. 200 for all four hardcovers plus the box dice. Let's look at a all in. Let's see. The dice themselves are $8. That's cheap.
Yeah, that is cheap.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No, I think
Uh,
the average price for dice I've seen is about $15 a set. So
yeah.
depending on what you
Yeah,
get.
between 13 and 15. The adventure pack is 4 adventures for $30. Not bad. Player's handbook, hardcover, 45. Like I said, each of the books are, themselves pretty cheap. Magic and Treasure, 50. So I guess I'm gonna go with the 150. See, all this stuff happens at the same time.
Yeah, never fails.
Yeah, all of this signed. So signed. This is signed by Clyde Caldwell, and so he gets half the proceeds. So there's 25 of these. Game Cafe bundle, 500. This is small business owners. Okay. Let's see what this. So here's the blister packs. All right. So 28 for those. These come colored. Oh, base is not included. All right. So they're not going to come painted. The Gray Army.
No, oh, that's
I like
cool.
that one too.
Right. Safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Let's see
artwork's
the.
awesome.
Yeah. Like the artwork. Um,
That's what kills me is like, I don't know. Like, I can probably count on one hand how many official 5e pieces of art I've seen that I've actually liked. Some other books I can't put the dang thing down without, keep turning the page to find the next piece because it's so good.
Oh, I didn't see the they said the t-shirts, but I didn't see them. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there you go.
So, all right.
$24.
Yeah, 24 bucks is not bad.
No, I paid more than
I
that for
wish
a
I could get it.
t-shirt.
I need to see a bigger picture of it. I'm not seeing a bigger picture of it. But you can get all 3 t-shirts for 65. That's not bad either.
Nope.
No, that's actually cheaper. That's cheaper than buying, one of each. So, looks cool. All right. Glad to see that. Oh, I almost removed you by accident. So, yeah, thanks for letting me see that. I will definitely jump in there and hit it at 150. Huh? Was not expecting that. But I'll wait till my. Let's see. It's got 28 days. All right, I'll be good. I'll be able to do it. So,
You gotta time those monthly checks. I know that's how mine comes.
yeah, monthly plus my secondary job is weekly. It just doesn't start again until September 18th. So,
Oh yeah.
so I got to wait till then. We
I had to
moved.
wait on the Castle Zagig until my
Yeah,
check dropped so I could order it.
yeah, we moved. Well, like I said, Castle Zagig, I used the veterans thing, so I got it for like $34. Yeah, so it's like, yeah,
It's a
can't.
great deal.
Yeah, that's
One
a
of my
great deal.
one of my players, he lives in PA, but
Mhm.
he's a huge everything he runs, it's out of Greyhawk. So like I sent him that. I'm like, oh, and then he was looking at their site, and then he sent out a group of messages like, holy shit. He's like, they give veterans 50% off. He's like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
He's not a veteran,
yeah,
but he's like, he just thought it was awesome, and it is awesome. That's why they're one of the reasons they're a great company.
yeah, yeah.
Just play
So, like
games.
I
That's
said,
all they want you to do. Just
yeah,
play
certain
games.
things I like to, I hit certain Kickstarters, and then other things like, that kind of a thing, a one-off. I'm like, all right, I'll just, when I wanted to get, I picked up like 5 or 6 codexes in one shot, and it
Yeah.
would have been like 175, and I ended up getting it for,
Yeah.
whatever, 80 something dollars, or, and I was like, hey, you know what? It just, otherwise I wouldn't have it on my shelf, and, you know,
Right. It's a good deal. I mean, they
yeah,
offer it, so maybe take it.
yeah.
And I mean, like I said, they're good
Yeah.
company, so
Oh, they're
good
a great
people.
company, and I've been trying to, pay them back with about 70 videos on my channel. It's all kinds
Yeah,
of
yeah.
crusades.
You know,
So
that's what all my stuff's been about mostly is just my campaign,
yeah,
which is awesome because like I knew that they had seen my videos because they had shared them before. Like they'd shared one before a while ago, early in the campaign. But then the other morning, I woke up and I was thumbing through Twitter, and
mm,
that popped up, and I was like, and it had a screenshot. It was the one I did on the miniatures I used for some of the NPCs. So I saw the picture of it. It was like I was like, wait a minute, that looks familiar. Holy crap, that's mine. It's awesome.
so yeah, so all right, so Mystic Days, I'm definitely going to get the soft cover box set because that'll fit on my shelf. It's that was the main thing. I was like, I don't have room for 4 hardbacks, you know, um, but I will have room for the one box set with all the extras with it. So
Yeah, I'm
um,
gonna have to purge some more stuff to. I got stuff that I
yeah,
banned.
that's what I got to start doing. I have to start moving some of the board games that I have on my shelf and move those off. Especially the ones that I'll probably never run anyway.
Yeah.
I'll still keep my Avalon Hill games there because those are just so nostalgic. I mean, those were the other games that we were playing back in the day too. Was
Yeah. I never played them,
E17.
but I remember seeing
Yeah,
them and stuff.
yeah.
Seeing them in Dungeons and
Wizards
Dragon Night.
Wizards Quest was another
Yeah.
one. Oh my God, we played that game so much. Um, I have Luftwaffe. I have the B-17, Queen of the Skies, and Wizard's Quest were the 3 main ones that I used to play. I never played what was it, Panzer Blitz and Squad Leader and those. At least I don't remember having played them. I certainly didn't own them back in the day. So I
I
was
don't remember. I had a like war game, and it had like little chits like it, and that's what
Mhm.
we. I don't remember what it was. I had it about the same time I had like the basic expert
Mm,
set because I remember
yeah,
mixing that
yeah,
stuff. And but yeah, we just never once we got D&D, like we just never got into anything else. We just
yeah. No, we did
we played a
so
game
many
that was
different things because, like I said, we had 3 different dungeon masters, or game masters. We played every genre you can imagine. I mean,
That's
You know,
awesome.
we tried several too. So, my friend Adam, I mean, he ran, I think he ran Champions, and we didn't like Champions. We went right back to Villains and Vigilantes, second edition.
Yeah,
Um, but he was the one that would really pick up a lot of stuff. Um,
that's me.
and
I buy a
yeah,
lot of like in our group. That's me. I buy a lot of
yeah,
stuff. Jesus.
yeah. He was the one with the access to money. So, he used to buy most of the stuff. James Bond was another one that we used to run all the
Oh
time.
yeah, I remember that
I,
game.
I used to run
I
that,
remember that
and
game.
he used to run that as well. So that was another one that we ran fairly consistently, and especially him, because he used to buy all of the movie box sets. That was a cool
Oh
thing
yeah,
about James Bond. Every single
yeah.
movie had a separate box, adventure, with
Oh, that's
the
cool.
best maps and pictures and actual like photographs and everything like that. Really, really cool stuff. That's a great system. For a D100 system, that was a really well done system. Um, but I'm surprised it never. Well, you see, Wizards of the Coast owns Avalon Hill,
Yeah.
and they won't do anything with any other RPG because they just don't have
Mhm.
either the bandwidth to focus on more than one RPG at a time, or they don't want anything to be a challenge to 5e.
Yeah, I don't want any competition.
Yeah,
Take away.
even their own. They don't want any
Yeah, even their own
any
stuff.
competition, even their own.
Well, they
You know,
came out with what was it, a Marvel game they came out with, but they farmed that out to somebody else,
yeah,
or
they farm everything out to Renegade Games, because they have Power Rangers, they have Transformers, and they have GI Joe, and all of those were farmed out to Renegade.
yeah, I
Uh,
remember hearing
Partly
about it. Yep.
because, at least what I read, and this is not what Wizards of the Coast said, but I think it has some merit to the idea, was that all of those are going to be big in the Japanese market, and the Japanese market is not going to accept something that's woke, and it's not going to accept those IPs, especially Power Rangers and Transformers, to be, significantly altered from what they
Right.
were. You know, so there's certain things that they have that they're not, they can't touch them because just the cultural differences. It's not going to sell in Japan, and that's the market for it, is Japan.
Primary market is
Yeah,
over there, so yeah, it's they should just. I mean, like, you got, like we were saying, like troll lords, like their whole thing is just show up and play games, like just leave
yeah,
your baggage at the
yeah.
door, and
And they got
which is
attacked
free.
for that.
Yeah,
And they literally got attacked for that on
yeah,
Twitter,
exactly. Like it's
because they
crazy
said,
that
"No,
you
we're
get
just here
attacked
to,
for saying that.
yeah, we're just here to play games. We just, and we're talking to our own employee, you know, um, which the guy is a great designer, but you know, he just goes off every once in a while,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
his,
I follow
advanced
Twitter.
liberalism disease,
Yeah,
and so he just runs off at the mouth about certain things. And that was fine when you were working with, Modifius, but
yeah.
it's not gonna.
But they're not them. They're very,
Yeah,
that Midwest and
yeah. Well,
just,
they're Southern, actually. They're Arkansas.
Southern, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, they just,
Mm.
just they seem
They
like,
just want to play games. Yeah, just play
just
the
wanna play
games.
games. I always hit them up when they post on Twitter. They have that graphic of the flag, and I'm always like, whenever they, I always try to like whenever they post that, I'm like, yeah, when's that coming to the store?
Mm.
They always have that big Castles and Crusades flag banner they fly, and I'm like, we need one of those in the store.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Transformer movie is woke, robot pronouns, and it isn't making budget either well, but because
no,
woke does not sell. That I mean, when are these people gonna get it? Woke
You
does
would
not.
think they would by now, like everything's tanking, and they're like, oh, we can't figure. They turn around and try to blame the audience, and it's like, no,
Yeah, it's
sucks.
like, no, you keep on making garbage that people aren't going to buy, and you're going to keep on losing money. So I say there's got to be some kind of an ulterior motive. There must be something to that
So
ESG score that gives them money on the back end without it being clear. I mean, it's just like,
they're losing a ton of it on the front end.
yeah, yeah.
They got
So
the whole
it's just,
writer strike going on, and I'm like, strike forever for as long as I care, because you haven't put out anything good in a long time. So
yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? Oh, wow. We're at 3 hours already. So
no,
that's a very long stream for me. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I want to thank everybody for popping in. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you, Ducato, for jumping in. And
thanks for having me. It was awesome.
yeah,
Thank you.
always welcome. And let's see, conservatives won't buy or woke products. No kidding. Yeah, we won't buy it.
Nope.
Won't buy it, won't touch any other project, any other products that you're connected to either. So it's not, it's just not the hand pink waving. Yes. So anyway, and yes, thank you very much, Panther, and good to see you here, and good to see everybody else here. Elle, thanks for all of the chat and some clarifications and everything too. Always welcome. And Cal, good to see you.
Yeah,
And
Cal. Good to see you, man.
yeah,
Thank you.
and let's see. Let's keep on scrolling and see who else. Who else? Well, everyone. Thanks for joining, and have a great night. Have a good weekend, and I will see you another live stream sometime next week. And I'll be putting together some videos over the weekend. So we'll see. I'll start covering Mystic Days and the play guide, the quick start rules, as well as for Fire and Ice. I'm going to start covering the quick start rules for that as well. So, all right. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.